Hi, this is Zero Cool, and you're back with The Church with Ogre and Zero Cool. We were talking about martial arts and the dignity that it actually brings, but the alphabet agencies of the United States government, or possibly YouTube themselves, kindly uninterrupted our uninterrupted, unplanned, scheduled event. Now back to you, Ogre.
Oh no, we're gonna stick with you, brother. And if you want, you know what? Let's just BS for a minute, because this will be on the second stream, and when people dribble back in, because you were really going down a road that I liked. Most people feel like it's like this. You're reading. You mentioned comic books, and you even said that you weren't big into comic books.
No, I said I couldn't read normal books. I learned to read because of comic books.
Oh, okay. Well, and look, we got some people dribbling back in, but I'll say this. If you remember back to those comic books of yore, in the back of them was Atlas's guide to,
God, yes.
Look like Tony Atlas, man. Get your pecs pumped and kicks. But people were, and also karate. Learn karate at home, learn self-defense and taekwondo at home.
That was the 1970s, man. Not so much the 80s.
And they were definitely appealing to a side that I don't like, because every dojo I've ever been in, and I've belonged to several. And I still belong to one. Man, if you're a dipshit, you better be able to beat the head guy, the master of the dojo. You better be able to beat his ass, because if he finds out you got drunk and showed your ass, like I did a couple times in my life, and I don't care how old you are, if you call yourself a member there and he's your master and you're a student, he's going to kick your ass. He's going to mess you up. He's going to hurt you. Usually, I never really had my ass kicked, but I'll never forget. I won't mention this guy's name because he did hurt me.
I remember at the dojang where we had it, I had to leave because I broke my leg a while later, and it just really took a toll on me. And my instructor was like, look at it this, and I will get back to my point. I said, well, look at it this way. You did it. You ranked up this far. You learned discipline and structure, which you always knew you had. If you don't come back to it, you still have the tenets in your life, and you can say it. You can tell your daughter, hey, and anybody you ask, hey, look, I did this in my life. And if you come back to it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. You've still learned something. But the one thing I learned the hard way, and he could have floored me for this if he chose to. He was teaching me the very first form of Taekwondo. And it's been a while, so I'm going to have to rethink. I got it fresh on my head. Let's see. First.
Take your time, Zero. No worries.
Trying to remember what it was called. The Taekwondo basic form, which is basically what you would do is you would do a bring your arm down and forward punch, turn, bring your arm down, forward punch, and you do that in a circle. And that's the easiest thing to understand. That's the fastest, that's very white belt, easy to understand. And I got cocky. He says, do you have your form down? And instead of saying, yes, sir, I do. And I said, yeah, I got it. And he goes, excuse me? And he says, and I said, yeah, I got it. And he goes, you don't ever got it. And he ripped into me in front of the entire class. And I'm talking people that were older than me, that were, green belts and up. We had a 16-year-old kid named Corey, very nice kid. He was red belt. He was the first student. He ranked out the highest because other people just up and decided to quit or whatever. And I'm getting all these other yellow belts looking at me, like shaking their head like you shouldn't have said that. I was humbled that day, man. And so when I went to my first tournament as a yellow belt, not only did I win second place in forms for my age division, and my teammate who was upper green win first place. So we brought the two trophies out of 650 people, by the way, back to our dojang. I went to my master and I said, sir, and he goes, yes. And I said, I understand. He goes, what do you understand? I said, I understand why I don't just got it. He goes, good. Don't ever say that again. And I said, yes, sir. And everybody thinks that you can just, the common misconception, so I wouldn't say everybody thinks, the common misconception is that you can just go in, you can sign up, you can do this, and you can start kicking ass in under 5 minutes. No. I never had that ego problem. I knew that when I went in, and I told my daughter because she went too, and she only got as high as upper green belt, but she decided she didn't want to pursue it, and that's her business, and I love her, but she's not dumb. She still practices and she misses it, but that's a story for another day. I learned, you don't walk in the situation thinking you know anything. You walk in a situation knowing that you know nothing. And you are there to learn and not to kick ass. You are there to learn to defend yourselves in time of need, and that you never force your will upon others. And even if you run across somebody with a gun, don't get fucking stupid. Don't try to do the Chuck Norris shit. Run.
Run.
There's a reason for
Best
that.
advice I've ever gotten from, in fact, everybody that's ever taught me martial arts, they said, the first thing you do is avoid.
Yep.
Avoid so much that it makes your adversary see you as weak. And then, if you must, choose your most devastating strike, which would me, for me, if it's a strike, would be a forward right hand. I mean, if you look at my knuckles, you can see there's a drastic difference between the right ones and the left ones.
Yeah.
That's not by accident. That's because these two knuckles hurt you. These two hurt me. So I've practiced putting, bam, those two right there, bam, as quick as I can. And if that strikes you right here or right here, man, I've got a good 45 seconds to not beat you up or not being one up. I mean, I say you like an American. Everyone knows what I mean, not anybody personally. But I've got 45 seconds then to grab my old lady, turn around and run so she don't have to pull her 6 Sauer out and shoot somebody. And that's the way I look at it. So it's avoid.
That's exactly the point. They don't tell you. A lot of people think, oh, you know, with respect to Cynthia Rothrock, I can tell you right now, if you ever mouth off to her, she's going to have you doing 20 push-ups whether you like it or not. Because there's a reason she's a master in her field, because she has discipline, something that we lack sorely as people. And I honestly, because I missed practice, I broke my leg and I got screws in my ankles. So it's hard for me to do the roundhouse kick. You know, I can't do the reverse roundhouse kick anymore, which once you get to green belt, the green belt, and you earn that green belt, you got to know how to do that in the forms because they're there. Absolutely. But people think that, you mouth off to, Miss Rothrock like that, you're going to do 20 push-ups easily. She's just going to look at you. She's just gonna give you a look like serious, and people think that Bruce Lee, rest his soul, he would tell you the same thing. It's more about philosophy and avoiding confrontation at all cost when you can. You don't go copping an attitude being a badass, because that shows complete disrespect for yourself, the philosophy, the tenets of whatever you're studying, because every martial art has one, and why it's called a martial art, as well as your dojang or your dojo, your fellow students, and definitely your family above all else, and your master. Because I can tell you, Bruce Lee would probably tell you do not dishonor your family.
No, Bruce is amazing. I read the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. I have it on my bookshelf. It's the Tao of Jeet Kune Do just means the way of the intercepting fist. That's why I've practiced so many capture and destroys. If you see a punch coming at you and you can keep your head about you and you can capture the thing coming at you and lead it to a knee, lead it to an elbow, you can actually break somebody's hand and make it so they don't want to try to punch you again. That's why he was incredible. He did have a lot of wonderful philosophies, but when it comes right down to pugilism, right down to martial arts, he was so fast and he practiced so hard that I don't care how big you were, if you couldn't lay a hand anyway. I've got a lot of respect for him, because unlike some people, like I think of Steven Seagal, with all due respect to what is it that he does there? They do the thing and they think they got their chi going. There's a good video. I have no clue
what he does.
It's called Kempo. Not Kempo. That's karate.
That's
actually
Razor
a real
Fist.
one.
I'm sure he's touched upon Steven Seagal once or twice in movies.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, I'm over it. But I would say that's why I respect Bruce. He died young. It was a shame. And he was really a tough guy. He was not a joke. If say he had many times, in fact, he got so sick of it, he hired bodyguards. And then there was a big thing as, oh, you're a sissy guy. He was like, no, I'm going to get in trouble eventually. And I'm sick of being asked by every guy. So you're really tough. And then I end up, they try to take a swing and I strike him in the solar plexus and I'm sick of it. So yeah, anyway,
and that
there's my diatribe on Bruce Lee.
No, and that's true. And that very much leads us back to what we were originally talking about, with MMA and UFC. Yeah, you can call it a sport. You can be young and dumb and fight and all that stuff. But you get to the point in your life, you don't need this crap. And you start outthinking your adversaries, which, both of us are about the same age. And we look at kids being in their 20s, acting like they want to act. And we're just like, we have you up by 20 years life experience as well as whatever else we got underneath our belt. And again, Ogre, you are in better shape than I am. I'm actually between sizes right now trying to lose weight after my leg breaking. And that took me out for about a year. But it does happen, and, life moves on. But you know, that's what we learn from things. We learn as we get older not to not take everything seriously if we don't have to, and B, not try to be the hot shot.
Definitely not the hot shot. Never underestimate somebody. Never. In fact, you learn from Taekwondo. I guarantee you. You don't go into a situation believing you're going to win or lose. You go into a situation thinking, I want to get out of this alive. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to be hurt. If you go into it, that's philosophy. But then you got, like you said, you got this young guy. It's like, oh, I'm going to mess this guy up. Oh my goodness. And then you know what happens inevitably? They do one of these, and Zero Cool's like, he watches it coming like, and just, you know, it's like, pink, poke him right in the eyeball.
Well, I'm more the type to grab them by the collar these days and headbutt them in the bridge of their nose. But if they think they're fast enough to do a ridge backhand, good luck. I'm sure they'll probably not find my neck as fast as they
I
think.
see. You're thinking I was doing. No, I'm saying that's not ridge hand, but that's how most of these young kids are like, oh, this guy, this old guy, watch this, and they're trying to do a big haymaker, you know, and it gives you like 2 seconds to decide if you want to duck it, if you want to push him down or poke him in the eyes, like.
Well, depending on your speed, you could easily just like totally block him with an upper arm block, and then you could really just square punch him right in the sternum.
Look at all that stuff we're talking about. I'm telling you, I got base stick man, and I'm only gonna try this for a second, Zero, just to see if the sound thing did work.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it just for a quick second. I don't know if I got to share. I'm worried because I played. You didn't hear nothing happen before.
No, this video sounded great, but
so you hear nothing. You hear right now. You hear nothing.
I'm not even there yet.
No, you should be. I'm hearing it through mine, so it didn't work.
I'm not hearing it from you. No.
What I'm saying. So watch this. I'm gonna do it. Let me screen share this for sure.
Yeah,
and if you can hear it out in the stream, let me know. But I'm guessing that nobody can. That's why I'm talking funny, because it's blasting through my headphones. So I've got to get the voice meter or whatever. I'm still looking at the stream, so they'll know. I'm gonna stop this right now, Zero. All right. Well, that was my try. I told you I was gonna give it a shot aside. What I'm trying desperately to do, folks, is to be able to let you hear what we're showing you, because Dop brings stuff. I mean, we do news sometimes, and if you can't hear the person, I mean, you were here, Zero, when we had that dude that was like, oh man, mercy. Remember I put the subtitles up, and he was saying we got to face it pretty soon. Everybody, where was that? Everybody here will have to wear a hijab, all the girls, because it's out of respect for them. Oh mercy.
I know you were. No, I don't have to.
You were on the stream. No, I don't want to bust it up like that anyway, because this, and we're probably about at the end of what we could talk about this, but Zero, that's how I judge most of the time. I do 2 things. I know a little bit about martial arts, so I'll ask something. And at first, I won't lie, you kind of stumbled on the numbers, but then you came back with the tenets, the tenets, yeah, of Taekwondo, and you were saying it in Korean. So obviously, you either read it or you know it. But it's what tells me more than anyone else.
It's in my head somewhere, though.
Oh yeah, but what tells me something more than anything else is I'll even use Joe Rogan as an example. He's a martial artist. He's got also one of the most powerful spinning back kicks on earth. If you haven't seen it, type in Joe Rogan does spinning back kick. He knocked a kid out when he was like 17. He was in a tournament in California. Spinning back kick hit the kid in the solar plexus, and they disqualified Joe. They said he was using too much force. He was just doing a nice maneuver. It was legal. But anyway, even Joe, crazy smoking dope on his pod stream, Joe Rogan, dude, he ain't gonna fight nobody. Because that's the true measure of someone that is not only a martial artist, but someone that has acquired wisdom from some source, Zero, is that if be quick to agree with your adversary when you're in the way with him. Otherwise, he will deliver you to the police. The police will deliver you to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor to the judge. And so that's what a wise man feels, that yes, maybe I could do thus and such, but maybe he'll shoot me. Maybe he'll stab me. Maybe I'll just get in trouble because even though he's the antagonist, I defended myself so well that he looks bad and I don't, and I go to jail. So, I mean, a wise person takes all of those things into consideration, and especially a martial artist would always take those things into consideration.
And that's the problem. We live in America. It's such a legalese tangled web that, I think I was talking to the guys after live stream yesterday about being the villain. And I made a quick Dr. Doom analogy, which I'm not going to go into here, but it was more the fact that, when you're often viewed as the villain and you're proven wrong, that's kind of expected. But when you're the villain and you tell people, if you do this, you're going to prove me right, still the villain, but they'll make you more the villain, even though they're the ones that are really the bad guys. And it's kind of like, look, if martial arts has taught me nothing else, it's something I probably should have learned a long time ago besides discipline, which was there's always another option available. Don't go walking into a situation where it's, it's a knife and a gunfight scenario type issue, and you're the one holding a blackjack, and everybody else has got armaments, surrounding them. But that's a lot of things that people don't realize these days, and they think they can say whatever they want, they can do whatever they want, and mouth off to whoever they want. And the reason that people walk away is we're too old for this kind of behavior. We don't want to deal with this kind of behavior. And hey, Jeremy.
Welcome, brother. I was hoping you'd get that. Hey. Oh, go ahead, Zero.
Hey, bro.
And all this other kind of stuff. And it just gets to the point that they see a person as weak or a sissy or a pussy or whatever. And I think that the people that are doing the intimidating continue to bully those who don't know how to stand up for themselves and have discipline. So, and I'll be honest, I've been to Iowa City. We do have some Muslims there, but it's not the traditional Muslim mentality that I've seen. I've seen women, and don't get me wrong, the dresses are beautiful. They in Iowa, at least in America that I've seen, the dresses have been allowed to be altered to have beautiful designs. And I'm a sucker for designs and art. I like art. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything's subjective, but I've seen and they're wearing.
I don't care where it comes from. If it's beautiful, man.
And and the women walk around by themselves. They're allowed to go shopping without a man. They can engage in conversations with us infidels. And in Iowa City, they're treated with respect because they show respect. And only once have I ever told somebody who was a Native American, who was an American, native Iowan, to say, watch your mouth, because it was a business transaction. Said, you don't like somebody shopping here, you can go down the street to the other store and shop. Don't show them disrespect just because you want to buy your goddamn can of Pepsi, buddy. And that was the end of that. And Andrew was like, what are you, a Muslim sympathizer? And I said, no, I'm an asshole who wants to buy his can of Mountain Dew. Get out of my face.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was reading an email. I wanted to say something, man. We'll probably have, you know what? I'm just going to keep it to myself. I'll say this, though. All kinds of people come on this show. And one thing that I will continue to do is allow all kinds of people to come on this show. Some of them I will vehemently agree with. Some of them I'll vehemently disagree with. Some of them I will think are geniuses. I'll even mention one right now because I think I ran him off with my Moby Dick reading, and that's MCJK. He's actually not only somebody that comes onto the show, but he's a mentor, so to say, of mine. He helps me. He talks. He's very intelligent. And there's a couple others I can mention. I think everybody knows them. But that said, and I also would take no offense to anyone. Of course, I wouldn't name anybody. But I wouldn't take any offense to anyone that also said, because of this X, Y, or Z, I don't want to be a part of it. Because in the end, I would support people that said that. In honesty, I would support them more than somebody that wouldn't. Because to me, a real man will say, this is what I believe and I'm standing for it. That said, I'm not trying to make an excuse for myself because I am a real man. But the format that I've brung here is meant to be as diverse as possible. It's meant to make you think about things that you may or may not have otherwise thought about. And believe me, in my heart of hearts, sometimes that's very difficult for me. If you remember, Jeremy, I was busting your balls yesterday because, you and I, there's no doubt that we would sit in a bar, eat cheese and baguette and, drink wine, some wine, some exotic wine from France. Wouldn't be exotic, we'd be there.
Oh, no, give me Californian, for fuck's sake.
I love you for that, bro. You know me. I was talking trash, but I love the California wine.
I'm just going to simply say this as the outsider in that particular conversation because I'm not really a drinker. I'm not sure who would get hit on more because you both got that beard thing going on. And people do like the Bears.
Oh, yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's actually a fetish of most gay and bi dudes in France. Like, oh my God, he looks like a metalhead and he's bi. Quick. Like that's really my everyday life every now and then in some places in France. Like, oh, why do the bi dudes and gay dudes that are metalheads avoid the saunas? Because you grab my butt without even saying hello, you fuckwit. That's why.
Oh. Oh man, I was just laughing at that. I'm
But,
trying to respond to something
back-
that killed me when I was just in the middle of typing something. It's like, wow, you just said that.
Back at Californian wine, seriously, I had some, and there are years where you deserve respect more than Bordeaux, and for fuck's sake, you never get it. That pisses me off.
But I can't. I love a good Bordeaux, man. I'm not even going to go. I'm not going to sell out my American roots. But I have to say, I've had French wine that tastes like battery acid, but I've had French wine that was so good. Lafite, man. I mean, it's not just an expensive name. I've only drank that 3 times because it's a fucking expensive name. But man, yeah, good. There is good wine out. It comes out of France, that's for sure. But it seems like there's very little middle ground. It's either very good and extremely expensive, or
they don't give a shit.
Right.
Or they don't give a shit. Like
You can buy a $5 bottle of California wine, man. It's good.
On the other hand, we are okay that, for example, we've got white wines in France that we don't really like. Like, we don't really like the taste, and we are so fucking glad that the Chinese like it so that we can sell it to them.
Yeah.
Like, we've got wines, white wines that they're too licorice, they're too sugary, and the Chinese guys, that's what they love. So we're like, you know what? You can have it. We sell it pennies on the dollar to them, and when they go back in China, you would see the prices of the bottle. We're like, oh my god, you're a bunch of fucking assholes with your co-citizens.
Yeah. I'm going to step out to the kitchen and get a cold beer. And for most people, that's like right around the corner. But for me, I actually got to walk through this whole travesty of a house I've got. So I'll be back in like 30 seconds. But you know what? I'm going to say one more thing, and then let's talk about something I kind of like. I'm going to almost want to call you Jacques, but I know it's Jeremy. Frenchie. I want to talk about some French stuff. We get English people on here pretty often, and we get the inside scoop. And yesterday you were giving us a little idea of how it's different between the North and the South. And believe me, I remember, and there are people that come to church every day that remember, and I didn't ask, but I bet they want to know a little bit more about France. So I'm going to start with a prodding question. Why is it round 2? What the fuck is that? You don't just have an election? What's going on?
Oh, the fact that we have two different elections?
Well, yes, and please, explain it, like, tell us how it works, the presidential election, if you will, if you can, and, concisely, you can do it. I know you can.
The election is very direct, but very early on and very quickly when we recreated our systems after World War II, we reached the realization that the political ideas of French people are so diverse that you cannot create bipartisanship in France. So you have to have 2 rounds. That's basically why. That's literally why. You just can't. You have to have 2 rounds, in fact.
Okay, I had to run back. So, in other words, what I'd like you to do is, I understand that there's 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Just explain. Now you've explained why it's the way it is. Explain how it is. In other words, how does the process work if you can do that?
How do they campaign? Like,
no, just let me explain to you. In the United States of America, we have the Republican Party, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, and the Democrat Party for the most part. They have their primaries. Somebody is picked from amongst them to run against the other 3 mostly, but a lot of people run. But we had Gary Johnson. You know who they are.
Oh, okay.
So how does it, just tell me the mechanics of it is what I'm asking.
How does the guy that's going to be representing the party is being picked up?
Yes, the whole 9 yards. In other words, I just tried to give you a rundown. We start with a primary, then we go to the general election. You start with the primary, then the pre-election, then just if you can give me the rundown on it.
Okay, so first in France, companies do not have the right to finance a political party. So everybody that is financing a political party and is financing a campaign is financing it on their own volition, as basically giving a little bit of money to be a member of the political party, militant, giving money for the campaign. And generally, most of the higher ups of the party will give various speech throughout the year. So you are supposed to go to the party to listen to every single one of those fuckwats. And basically, it's voted in various ways, but very rapidly they get a feel. There is no such a thing as a primary per se. Like the two biggest parties actually started to have primaries, but the other parties are generally working fairly differently. And generally, it's done through conversation mostly. It's done through who's got the most popular ideas. It's fairly organic actually. It's more organic than just a primary election actually. They've been doing the primary election, the Socialist Party, and the now the party that is called the Republicans, that has changed like some 7,000 times. That has changed their name 7,000 times, and they've been doing primaries as well. And every other members of every other political parties will like talk about a shit show. Like seriously, it's not our way of doing things. And actually, the primaries that they tried to do in order to make make it a little bit more like in America, it didn't work, and everybody tried to cheat. Everybody tried to cheat, like because those elections were outside of official elections, so they were not impacted by the official electoral code. That's also why they did primaries, in order to hijack and in order to try to cheat their way in to be the one who's going to get to be the candidate. And now I run out.
You said probably the most, what I was looking for the most was, what I'm getting is you have a lot of people running because it is a more organic thing. You said it was a conversation. So you have a lot more local politicians that are actually, because this dude, I still can't remember his name, but the guy that married, the dude, like you said, you don't really, what's it, Macron. I don't know who the hell he is, and I follow politics pretty close. He kind of came out of nowhere, didn't he?
He was the economics ministry of the previous president, and he was vastly hated by everyone because he proposed all kinds of reforms that were completely stupid. Like, they were good at heart. They were well-intentioned, and they were kind of seeing where the problem was coming from, but the delivery was downright stupid.
Yep.
The delivery was downright stupid, and the remedy that he proposed to the problems that were addressed was worse than the original situation.
So, if you don't mind me asking, was the candidate that you supported, are they one of the last two? And if not, would you mind saying who it was and why?
So I voted for Mélenchon personally. I do not agree with every single one of his decisions. But so he's the ultra left wing, but to me he is the real left wing actually, because there is a party that is even more left wing than them. But Mélenchon sounded to me like the best solution for various reasons. First, the guy understands informative technology, and right now we have a huge problem with informative technology. There is a lot of things to reform in our system related to informative technology, and he can understand that. So he was addressing those problems inside his campaign. Second, motherfucker is like, you know what? Let's stop being a bunch of fucking hypocrites when it comes to pot. If you want prevention policies, you need to be able to legally make prevention policies. In order to be able to make prevention policies, you have to legalize the fucking shit. So let's stop being a bunch of hypocrites and let's legalize pot.
That'd be a good start. I would say decriminalize all drugs. But anyway, I was in a little debate with a guy on Twitter that was like, he's talking about how marijuana is involved in all these car accidents, fatal car accidents. Bullshit. If you and I, Jeremy, were to sit down right now and smoke, if I was to do this right now, right like this.
I can tell you in the state of Iowa, I have never heard of a marijuana-related car accident or
It's
murder.
not, because that's what I'm saying is right now, what I just did, even if I don't smoke pot, it's in my system for 10 days. It stores itself in the fatty cells. So if I got into a fatal car crash 8 days from now and was sober as a judge, they'd say that marijuana was involved. Give me a fucking break.
I think your wife would be more worried about you getting severely high and killing the chickens once or twice to make a bucket.
Man, my wife knows me, and my biggest problem is I do have a 3-drink maximum over a 3-hour period. So in other words, when I'm out and about on my daily trips, if I stop somewhere for lunch, I'll have a beer. Now on the way back, I'll probably stop at that bar and have a beer. But if my day goes on, there's 3, and it's never more than 1 an hour, and that's for legal purposes. And I myself, I got a DUI once, and I blew a .07, which is under the legal limit, and they still took me to jail for impaired. And I was like, dude, because he asked me if I'd been drinking. I said, yeah, I just had 2 fingers of bourbon with my bro. He's like, oh, yeah, get out of the car. I was like, okay. I passed all the roadside sobriety tests, then blew under the legal limit. They took me to jail, took my license, cost me $4,000. So now I'm worried about that. So my first answer, if a cop asks me if I'm drinking, is no. And my second answer is no. And all the rest of the answers are no. Unless it's, would you like to blow a breathalyzer? And then I say, or do it roadside sobriety. Because if you refuse either one of those in this free state, that means they take your license for a year without a trial or anything. It's automatic forfeiture of your license if you refuse a breathalyzer or refuse a roadside sobriety test. Why? I don't know. I'm sure they said for the children, got to save the children. Mothers against drunk drivers. Guess what? I'm damn. Drunks against mad mothers. Go fuck yourself. Some people are going to get killed in a car accident with DUI. Sorry. I'm not saying that's good. Some people are going to be cliff diving and break their bloody fucking necks. Let's nerf the fucking world, to quote. Look, this stuff gets me adamant because, I have my own rules. But yes, Zero, my wife, what she does is she doesn't worry about me like I don't worry about her because she knows I'm not going to do anything to increase my chances of getting arrested or my chances of hurting myself or someone else. If it happens now, it happens. But there's not going to be anything on my part. Anyway, that was a long. Jeremy's probably like,
the drift.
You do realize I was only referring to you going out and killing a couple roosters and making some KFC.
Well, but you heard me the other day. I actually just shot a rooster right through the head, and didn't bury the son of a bitch because he just wouldn't stay away from my neighbor's house.
On that topic of getting pulled over, short little thing here. When I worked at Wendy's, I actually had to go to the one over in Interstate 80, which is the so-called largest truck stop in America.
Oh, Iowa 80. I've been there 100 times.
Right. So, there's a Wendy's there, and I had worked there, and I had to drive home from there to my job, and that was about a 45-minute drive, and I got pulled over by a sheriff's officer of the county. And he asked me to, get out of the car, and I said, I don't want to get out of the car. And he goes, why? I said, I can barely keep my hands on the wheel. So he says, okay, I really need you to get out of the car. He's very nice about it. He says, are you willing to take a breathalyzer? And I said, no. He says, well, will you walk in a straight line and all this other stuff? And I said, no. And he goes, why not? And I said, well, they don't allow you to drink at work. And he goes, well, where are you coming from? And I said, what, you can't tell that I don't smell like the Baconator? And he goes, oh, is that what that is? And he drove me home. He wanted to because he saw me swerving on the bypass. And he thought I was drunk. That's fair. But he took me home. And so my landlord's there fixing up the place at the time. This is before I got married. And he goes, well, what'd you do now? And the sheriff's like, well, the only thing this boy's guilty of is not sharing his biggie fries with me, but I can go get my own anyway. Drops me off and leaves.
Nice.
Hello, Amanda.
Hi.
I'm Jeremy.
He's Jeremy.
Well, I'm the new
Is it
guy.
just me, or can I not hear Ogre speaking?
Oh, sorry. No, I had my mic muted here because I'm trying to fiddle with sound and so many different things. So what I said was, it's Amanda. It's so good to see you. And this is our French friend, Jeremy. I'm not sure if you met him before, but I guess you already just were introduced. But listen, this is what I'm going to do, Amanda, because I wasn't even supposed to do this today. I was trying to work on sound and stuff. What's going on, girl? We were talking about all kinds of crazy shit, and some people don't like us talking about martial arts and stuff, but somebody's going to not like whatever we say. Did you have something to talk about, or just showing up to bullshit?
Yeah, I just showed up to bullshit. I mean, I don't know anything specific. I'm gonna try and do a rap battle versus that crazy Bill Nye rap. Gotta write that out.
You're gonna do the rap.
Yeah, I'm gonna rap against them. Like have it cut back and forth.
I can't wait.
I've gotten so far behind on shit because I'm doing way too much streaming. And every
Aw.
time I tell myself I'm gonna stop streaming for today, I'm gonna work today, instead I end up cleaning my house and dealing with my kids.
Oh, I wasn't freaking supposed to do that. Yeah. Well, you know what? It's for me. It's I start thinking about I'm going to do a video, Amanda. But then I've got Amanda Wolf. I mean, I got cool people that come on, and then a lot of people come watch it. And I could either take my time to do a video and have right now some. I'm not even going to try to brag, but a few people watch it. Usually small triple digits. Or I could do this, and a lot of people enjoy it, and they get to BS. I think for the people that watch us, a lot of it is also the chat. They're listening half-heartedly to us, but they're over there in their own world in the chat. So it's addictive, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. But I'm gonna pull another all-nighter tonight and try and get a bunch of shit done.
With the rap
you know
battle.
what? I don't even know how to make a video. All I want to do is make videos with audio and my image, and I can't even figure out how to do that.
You don't. I obviously don't. You and 3 other people that love me were busting my balls on the DM like, hey, your sound sucked. And I've done like 50 of them. I don't know. I got out of the habit. I am going to do one tonight because I can't let I really worked on that. And Amanda, you remind me of Nachi Free and the Britisher.
Proof that having a networking degree doesn't mean anything.
How much did you think it out before you did your first video?
Oh, not at all. My first video was just a response to that Markov idiot. So I was just yelling at him.
You're good at it, though, I'll tell you. Because Nachi and Britt and yourself, I would say that you 3 seem to me to have the most planned. Because if you look back at my old shit, I'm not recommending it, please. I'm not going to take it down. But my old shit was really weird, fuzzy things, and I was pretending to be the CIA and shit. It seemed haphazard and not very planned out because that's what it was.
What I do is I write myself talking points, and then I kind of record audio from there. You know, I try and keep myself on track, and I edit out a lot of the rambling. So it makes me sound
That's where I kill myself. I do 1 takes and I never edit. I don't cut. So if I got a 10-minute piece, I do bullet points. But if I do have 10-minute piece and I fuck up like 8 minutes in, I dump it, start again.
Oh no!
I got to quit killing myself like that.
Yeah, I only do 1 run through on recording my audio. It's when I'm making the movie, when I'm putting it against my image and stuff. I'll just be like, I can cut right here very easily, and nobody will even notice. I can just take out all this rambling.
Well, you're good on the mic, and I'm done kissing your ass. I just wanted you to talk about something today if you got something to bring up. Because, look, you got a lot of hate, and I'm going to tell you one thing about you, what I love about you. You don't give a fuck.
No,
they were like
really
hating on you. I seen you responded to one, and Chimps and stuff. And listen, of everybody there with Sargon, myself included, I'd say that you and the Britisher, I'm not saying this, my bottom of my heart, had the best shit. You know, you outside of Dank, he don't count because he's badass. But you 2 had the best shit. And your whole thing about the way Chimps evolve and stuff, and then you got the hate in the bottom, and it seems to me like you get an inordinate amount of hate and sure do handle it well all the time.
Yeah, I don't really care. I do wish I'd gotten to argue him more a little bit about hypergamy, because my points that I try to make on that kind of stuff, they take me too long, so people will just jump in the middle and misinterpret what I'm trying
Here's
to
your chance, sweetie.
Oh.
Right now.
Story of my life, girl. Story of my life.
So what was the point you were trying to make for the hater that was in the chat? What you were saying about how the chimps evolved and the females? Go ahead.
What I was saying is the chimps that we can see now, like researchers, they are really excited about this. There is a group of chimps that live in an area that is very similar to what our earliest ancestors would have lived in. And they're beginning to act in very human ways that we consider human. And my point was that at some point in our species, we had to make a decision to create the nuclear family. And those chimps still aren't doing it. But they're moving that direction. They're sleeping in caves. They swim in pools like for fun and do all kinds of human things. They hunt with spears. And it was the females that first began hunting with the spears, not the males, because they were strong enough to tear up the meat themselves. But at some point, we had to make a decision, because we don't see any other animals really doing this, that we were going to have the nuclear family, and that's how our species was going to evolve, that was easiest. And because we made that decision, we evolved to where we are. There's no hypergamy. It was a choice we made as a species, that this is how things were going to work. And it worked for us. That was my only point.
Yeah. So, anybody?
All right, so I muted myself and walked out of the room for a minute and thought you were going to go on for 10 minutes. So what I'm saying is, though, the argument is this. Okay, you ready, Amanda? I'm gonna play devil's advocate. You know I love you. I know I'm overly nice to you. Just accept it. I like you. I'm not gonna be a dick. But what I'm going to say to you is this: two things. Number one, how do you know that? You weren't there. No one was there. Number two, evolution is insanity. I could give you the long proboscis, the long. Let me just put it in layman's terms because I can't remember the nomenclature. The long-nosed butterfly of South America. There is a plant there with a tube this long, a trumpet this long, and there is a moth there that if it wasn't for this moth that had a proboscis that went all the way down into the bottom of this plant, it couldn't reproduce. And this particular animal only lives off the nectar of the insect, I should say, only lives off the nectar of this particular plant. Evolution, girl, and then the bombarder beetle is the best example of that. It's a little bug that mixes peroxide solution with another solution in its tail, and it's got, look up the bombarder beetle and see if I'm joking. It shoots out a solution that's 230 degrees. Pop, 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 pop. It sounds like a pop, but what it is and you can see it when it slows down, the tailpipes are going boom, and it's shooting out the two different solutions at the same time, so they mix in the air, because if they mix inside of this little bug, Amanda Wolfchild,
He will explode.
the bug will explode. How did that evolve? And how do you know that the females were the first?
Sorry,
Were
my
you
kid was
there?
bugging me, but I was listening.
Okay, no, that's cool. Were you there all those years ago? So answer them in either order, or if you want to answer either one.
Can I chime in a little bit, Amanda?
Oh yeah,
or-
anybody can, because that would be my argument if I had
Yeah,
one
go ahead,
against
'cause my
evolution.
service is
And
messing
the,
up.
Okay, Ogre. So maybe you don't like you don't like the idea of evolution, but that's the thing that geneticians have.
no, brother. I want to be very clear. I told her at the beginning too. I was playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
I'm not saying I've never
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
channel said what I believe in. I won't.
Okay, so when it comes to evolution, when geneticians look at genetic code, they identified one thing inside our genetic code, is that between each line of code there are some basically triggers. Those triggers are basically there to say this part of the code is still relevant and therefore should be used, or this part of the code is not relevant anymore and should not be used. And those triggers are actually also keeping track of for how long they have been activated.
They're
or for how long.
proteins. What you're talking about, proteins. I'm aware of that. So what's the point of that? So in other words, we also have the P52 gene protein that goes along the DNA strands of each and every single cell that we
Yeah,
produce.
But
And so-
why would they keep track of time? Why would those proteins keep track of time when it comes to how long has it been disabled and how long has it been enabled?
well, animals are marvelous things. Chickens, if they're kept away for 7 generations and never see wildlife, and then you let them in an open space and fly a kite over them, they don't do anything. Fly something that looks like a box, they don't do anything. Fly something that looks like a buzzard over them, they don't do anything. Fly something over them that looks like a hawk. 7 generations, never seen a hawk. Blah, 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 blah. So I don't know is the answer to that question.
Okay.
Sometimes that's the best answer, because that's the problem that I have with things that
No,
thing that says it happened trillions of years ago is how do you know?
Well, exactly. That's what I was saying about the chimps. We don't know for certain what happened back then. These chimps are our best observable evidence that can lead you. It's like what they said in Secondhand
Yeah,
Lions.
man, but observable is the issue I have.
Yeah, but it's like what they say in Secondhand Lions. It doesn't matter if something's true or not. If you want to believe in something, believe in it. You got to decide where you fall, what you believe. You got to look at everything and just decide this is what I choose to believe, because you can't fucking know if it's true or not. Not 100% ever.
and that's why we created science, in order to come up with things that come up with methods in order to be able to agree on certain points. And basically we decided to say, how do you know that you know something? We started at the first point. How do you establish knowledge? How do you create knowledge? How do you make sure that the hypothesis that you decided to postulate is the right one? How do you test your hypothesis?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you test your hypothesis? Like that's why we invented epistemology in the first place, and thanks to epistemology. And ironically, that's the thing. That's the thing that a lot of people don't know when they don't study the history of religion, is that those were monks trying to demonstrate a point and trying to further down science that had to revolutionize how we how we were thinking at things. Those were religious people that were literate and that were educated and that were like, no, you're wrong. And they decided to seek out for a way to prove that the other people were wrong.
Look, Islam's doing that now. They were the light of science and civilization, the Ottoman Empire. I mean, they were. Yeah. They invented in fact, the British will pop in here if I get it wrong. I think it's 0 or 1, so I'm not going to say which one now because he will pop up like an evil genie and be like, really, Mr. Ogre, it's the numeral 1. I've told you that thrice. You know, or whatever.
Oh, that reminds me, Ogre, I'm supposed to tell you Cabbage Patch says hi.
Oh, where's he at, man? I'm not even... Listen, I love you,
He's in an
Cabbage.
offline chat with a bunch of other people.
Yeah, I love Cabby. In fact, I think I got... I know where he's at. I was invited by Dick Balls to a couple, but you know, the thing of it is with me is I do this and I do want to get on some other chats, be it online or offline, but I'm like you, Amanda. I mean, good gracious, girl. It's like eventually, I won't lie. If Schmeckel called me right now and I was awake, I'd go on any cunt stream because I love Schmeckel, man. He's the man to me. He did something that I wish I would have done, but then in my heart, I know I wouldn't have liked it at the end. And he's just got the cunt stream. Sometimes he's serious, but anytime he wants, and I don't think he's drunk half as much as he acts like it.
Probably
but
not.
And if he is, God bless that Canadian soul because he gets smashed then. But anyway, and so if he called me, I mean, I'd jump on the cunt stream. But on other times, I mean, I'd get on some, and I'm not going to go down the list now of who I would and wouldn't because it ain't all about that. It's usually shit like you, girl. I got chickens, I got fucking dog, I got shit. And if I just, do it all day and it's fucking, we already said it, it's addictive.
Yeah.
And you get in here, let's face it, where else can we go? I can go to the bar like you can or whatever, go to the coffee shop. And yeah, we can meet people from our area and meet cool, interesting, but where can you go and talk to somebody from France, somebody from Iowa, somebody from Texas? I'm in Michigan right now. Where can you can't just do that. It's just only here. It's pretty cool. Oh man, I just got off in the weeds because I'm so stoked. It's been such a great day for me. Mm-hmm. My boy that I call my boy, everybody knows I just unlegally adopted him. His sister is very special to me also. She just turned 18 and I can't say much. In fact, just that I mentioned her like this, she's probably going to be pissed at me because you know how you girls are, Amanda. But she was talking to me today about things that you wouldn't think that a young girl would talk about with a guy like me, and for my advice. I want to be very clear about it. Not anything weird, for God's sake. But she was getting my advice about things that some people may think was weird. And I got one thing to say, girl. You only go around once. If you spend the rest of your life thinking about what's going to make everybody happy, you'll never be happy.
Right?
So, but I'm just stoked about that and some other things. It's just beautiful here. And we got a long winter up here, Amanda. I mean, it's like 9 months. And the sun was out today. It was 71. Look at my head, girl. Look at that. Look at my hand compared to it.
Yeah,
it's going to get. That's like 2 days. That's like 6 hours. I'm Jewish. Wait till the middle of summer. My head looks like mahogany. I could stand next to an African and you'd be like, which is which? And it's the beard gives it away though. The beard gets blonde and that does give it away. But I'm obviously a sand person once I get out in the sun.
Yeah, I have an uncle that he works outside all the time, and his wife is Mexican, and he raises her 2 kids as well as their kid together. So everybody just assumes he's a Mexican, and he's not.
And you got your sand people down there, for lack of a better term. I mean, you're in Texas. You got a suntan or you're burnt, one of the two.
Yeah, pretty much. Or you're me. I'd stay inside all the time. I'm super pale.
Oh man, them hunters in France are pissed.
What is pissed?
Pro hunters, they're pissed.
Why?
Basically, they are okay. I'm gonna explain. The people in France who issue you a gun license is a guy who is called a prophet. Not gonna dive into detail. Those guys are appointed by the president, and they get their job and they keep their job for life unless another president disposes of them. That has been the rule until then. Some prefects have been purportedly preventing people that were playing by the rules in order to get their gun license to grab them. So they have not been issuing the gun license to pro hunters, which is kind of a problem when you are hunting rabbits and deers if you can't shoot a gun legally. So for the renewal of the gun license, some prefects have not been playing by the rules and they want them to be disposed of. It's actually pretty grave. It is actually a pretty strong issue. And actually, Mr. Francois Hollande, some few days before the election, actually changed the rules. You cannot dispose of a prefect as the president anymore. You cannot fire a prefect anymore.
What?
That's going to change whether he likes it or not. He fails to realize that.
I don't know. Y'all in gun laws are weird. In Texas, the gun law is try and take my fucking guns.
I was waiting, Amanda. I was wanting to jump right in on that, but I wanted you and Zero Cool to say, look, go to Iowa and tell an Iowan that he can't go shoot a deer season.
We'll make
He's
sure that
probably
we
gonna
tie your ass
shoot
up
you.
to the front of the truck.
Yeah, you'll replace his buck that year.
Yeah.
He'll drive
Right.
you around town going, look at this Yankee I got, boys. It'll be over. Because and why I say Yankee, I don't mean Northerner, because Zero, in Iowa, anybody that's from the East Coast is a Yankee. they like, some of them come, they do one of two things. They come out there to hunt on like reservations, or, where they got deer like stock, or they come out there to live and then want the Iowans to become New York City.
We don't even like the DNR. We call them the Do Not Resuscitate crew, because
We call them damn near Russia.
because they are such bureaucratic bastards. And we've basically said, well, unless you're somebody who can actually do something, get the fuck out of my way. And they go, we'll call the sheriff. And it's like, yeah, okay, you go ahead and you call our sheriff. And the sheriff's like, I got better shit to deal with. Fuck you. And they will literally tell them to fuck off. Well, we'll call the local police. And I go, yeah, go ahead, call the local police. Local police are like, are you serious? We have no jurisdiction. So the DNR's last choice is, which should have been the first choice, to go to the staties. And staties are like, really? You want to bother us with this? Fine. And they will ticket everybody. They will ticket DNR agents. They will ticket the person who's hunting or the person who's going along just to learn how to sit in a duck blind. They won't give a shit, and then everybody gets in trouble. And then the state of Iowa says, wait, how'd you get this job? Oh, I had a person that was in my family. You're fired.
Well,
So
I gotta
the DNR has to watch itself around here.
Yeah, and I gotta follow up with this real quick, Zero. The rap battle is, what is that, Amanda? Somebody just asked in the chat if we could clarify on the rap battle.
Oh, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out that little rap that they did, and I'll let them go for a little bit, and then I'll cut in with
They
me.
don't know who they is, sweet thing.
Oh, I don't even know the chicks' names. Bill Nye had some, he introduced some chicks on
Rachel
his, like,
Bloom.
show. Yeah. They came out and they did this disgusting, ugly, stupid rap. I mean, it was just horrible. And I'm gonna
Was
do
it
it better.
was it cringe-inducing? Was it
So
nightmare fuel?
cringy.
It
I
was
mean, it
not.
was like Amy Schumer levels of
It was
cringy.
vomit-inducing, Jeremy. That's what it was.
Was that so? So what you're telling me is that it was nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. I love Nightmare Fuel. But I'll tell you one thing, Amanda's gonna devastate him. Watch out for it. I
The
guarantee you.
Exorcist was funnier.
I can't. Do you have you? In fact, listen. I was going to ask you if you have any lines, but you even said you had to work on writing. I'll just say this: I always plug Amanda, of course, and I put up her thing very often. But as soon as that rap battle comes out, I'll probably put it up 3 or 4 times a show until everybody sees it. Because if you haven't seen her takedowns, man, go watch them. I'm not going to take a bunch of time plugging you, Amanda, but that's a fact. I'm going to look up her channel real quick and put it in the chat. She does some excellent. She actually roasted me on a little thing, and as I've said before, and I'll say again, she could have been much harder on me. But I could tell she liked me because she said some shit that was true. It was like, it wasn't just like, oh, he's a big ogre. It was like, You know, just watch it because she points out things about me that are real. They're flaws. And that's so good, girl. I'm so
Yeah,
proud of that.
everybody says that my roasts are too nice, but I'm just too nice to be fucking me. Like you said, I'll point out shit that's true that I think's a little funny. That's as far as I can go.
Yeah, because I'm not going to go with you on the too nice thing. Amanda Wolfchild's a ball breaking son of a bitch. If you don't think so, fuck with her. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna say, only if you've pissed me off.
Yeah.
Oh
No, I stay on your good side intentionally. So let me look this up. What is that, Jeremy? You're trying to say something.
yeah. I'm just reacting out loud of what I'm seeing right now in the news feed. I love my country when it's election time because this is the moment where people reach out to see to their brothers, to basically reach out to their brothers and sisters, French co-citizens. Basically, the hunters are pissed. They basically voiced calmly their issues, and even the non-pro-gun people were like, when a bro is playing by the rules, you give him his gun license, you motherfuckers.
Hmm.
Even the non-pro-gun people, that's what they're saying right now on the internet. They're like, I'm sorry, if they've been playing by the rules, their gun license should be renewed, you fuckwits.
Yeah.
This
I
election is gonna be ugly, Ogre. It's gonna be
So
ugly.
you think that so which one are both of them for this kind of thing? Both of the presidential candidates?
Macron is not for he wants the hunters away. He wants the pro hunters away. He's actually advocating for us stopping eating hunt kills at restaurants. So no, he's not the pro
No
gun.
more. So in other words, no more contract hunts so that a restaurant can bring you fresh game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's not very French, sir.
That's-
You got to admit that.
That's
Yeah,
all they're
exactly.
pushing is the putting animals in these tiny little fucking cages that we all really hate to begin with.
Thank you. And what's more French than having a huntsman go out and kill you some squab or a rabbit, a nice hare, you know, and bringing it back and cooking it fresh there with a little foie gras and some good French shit. I mean, that's as French as it gets.
Only a
You can't take-
fucking gaping vagina does a can hunt because they ain't got the balls to face the animal one-on-one anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've said before, there's this massive disconnect nowadays between people and the food that they eat, and it removes humans from the natural order of the world. It's fucking stupid.
Big time.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly. Exactly.
And that's a
but-
part of the problem. And you know what? That's helps me with my chickens, girl. And I want to go back to you, Jeremy, right now. This is as a Frenchman, because we talk to a lot of English. I'm not going to name any names, but a lot of them, they just think that like not being able to own firearms is the greatest thing that ever happened to mankind. But as a Frenchman, don't you see that? Okay, if you want to make it I don't even want to go down that road. But how do you feel about it?
How do I feel about gun laws in France?
Yes, sir.
The gun laws are basically crafted this particular way in France. Basically, in order for you to renew your gun license, you just basically need to show that you respect the gun. All they're asking is you to go through some hoops to show that you respect the gun. So I don't want to own a firearm, but I want the people who own a firearm to show me that they respect the gun. And hunters in France, they understand that. They understand our grievances, and they basically say, okay, you know what? We're gonna go to the psychologist. We're gonna fill out your test, no problem, and we're gonna get our gun license renewed. But what I am pissed about, even though I don't want to be owning a firearm myself, is that when my pro-hunters co-citizens get blocked from the renewal of their gun license to do their fucking job. Fuck you, you fucking cunts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
well
I'm
said.
all for that. I'm all for giving people like a psychological test or something before you give them a gun. That's cool with me. I'd go do that shit before I got my gun. Fine. But give them the fucking gun.
Well, they have the gun, but the problem is that, how can I say that? There's just, the renewal of the permit so that you show that you have been rescreened regularly, and basically everybody rolls with that. Everybody over here in France rolls with that. The problem is that the prefect, so the guy who is supposed to sign your gun license, he's basically like, no, I have more urgent things to do. No, I have, basically the guy postpones all the time to try to not renew the fucking thing. There are some prophets, and the problem and the most egregious thing is that the prophets that are doing this in the regions where people are pro-hunters. That's their revenue.
See, that's
Man.
why the majority of people in the world, at least intelligent people, follow their own morality and not the law.
Oh, there's a show called Filthy Riches, and you can see people hunting mushrooms right here in the state of Michigan. There are folks that are coming out right now. The morels are coming out, and I get them too, and asparagus. But man, you got to be quick, and you got to beat these folks that actually do it for a living. And I couldn't imagine taking it from them, because these people in the springtime, they'll make $70,000-$80,000. Now they work their asses off for 3 months, but they're gathering all this, and it's like Amanda said, we got to keep our connection to it. Or if you do believe in evolution, we might be evolved right the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say I totally believe in evolution. I find evolution to be the more reasonable argument in my mind, because in my mind it's either evolution or we are some alien child science project. That's it.
I think people fail to realize
be.
the difference between evolution and adaptation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
I
child,
think-
but we may be an alien beings project, Amanda, like maybe all the other planets around the.
Oh,
Anyway, look, you're gonna kill me,
Ben.
but I would say this: you never know. Is it unreasonable for me to think that it's possible that there was some kind of intelligent
No.
design that wants to know how this would go?
No, not unreasonable at all, in my opinion.
Sometimes I think about it. I ponder it. When I look at a leaf, I didn't used to when I was younger. I had my own thoughts. But now sometimes when I look at a leaf in the fall when it's red and the chloroform has gone up, the chlorophyll has gone out of it, and you can see the true color of the leaf, and I think of the cycle and the way things are set up. Sometimes I wonder if there's some star child out there that started it all.
That was bored out of his mind and say, you know what, I'm going to create myself a bunch of friends.
Yeah, I don't. And anyway, we could leave it at that, because this kind of thing is what I think about in my spare time. I read so much news, and I can see that Jeremy's like me. He's on the stream and he's getting the local news feed. You know, eventually you have to take time to think about the other things. And as much as I would want to believe in the scientific side of it, even though you can't use a scientific method to reproduce what they say has happened to get us here,
In all
I
honesty,
still, as I get older, I want to believe that it was something else.
those chimps that I was talking about, I do believe that if their population isn't decimated, they will at some point, give it 100 years, evolve into a new form of hominid.
If we get the fuck
And
out
when
of
100 years,
Well,
just-
that's my
just for the sake of the argument,
Yeah.
for the sake of the argument, let's say that we manage to create something that allows us to move in and out of a planet, go back and forth. Like we can actually go back and forth efficiently in space and safely. And we decide to say, you know what? Fuck it. Let's all go out of Earth to let Earth heal itself. And we come back 10,000 years later. I wouldn't be too surprised to see chimps standing on their feet. Personally.
there you go. And she
Yeah,
said
no,
100
I
years.
wouldn't- This group of chimps that I'm talking about, I really do have to go find that documentary as soon as I get a second and post it in the side chat for you. But yeah, this group of chimps, scientists are really excited about them because, they are our best look at how our ancestors were. And I do believe they will at some point. 100 years is just my guesstimate because they're already acting human-like. But at some point they will. There'll be a new form of hominid or we will destroy them.
And look, I'm going to really lay back because for everybody that's been asking, yes, I just sent out the link to this in the chat. So y'all are more than welcome to come on. I know that some people probably want to ask Jeremy some questions, Amanda, Zero, maybe me, but I doubt it. But if y'all want to come in, just come in. But remember, I hate to be a censor. So if anybody blindsides or does something stupid, you'll get your joke in, but then I'll just kick you out and you couldn't even come back in. So be
Nobody
cool,
ever
be
wants
nice.
to ask me questions, thankfully.
Oh, that's not true, Zero. In fact, I had some questions on the side that you'll probably be asked at another time a couple days ago. But this is the way I look at it. If somebody comes to me and they're like, blah, 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 Zero cool, blah, 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 Zero cool. I'll just say, well, I like
You know
Zero
what?
cool. I don't always agree with him. But if you have a problem with what he says,
Talk
you
to
tell him. And
Yeah.
the best way to do it is on right here. And so that's it.
Go talk to the motherfucker, you fuckwit.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm always of the train of thought of like, I don't lose any sleep over anything when we do this at night. You know, I come in and I enjoy the time with the people that I'm with. I had a good time with Jeremy and Mark Doppelganger and a few other people yesterday, but I didn't lose any sleep over anything said. And there are things that I didn't agree with. And hell, I talked to Jeremy about it personally, you know, over the.
How late were y'all on last night? I went to get on and there was.
I left at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Okay, because I went to check in the room like about 10 o'clock at night. There was still 6 people in there, so I just was like, oh, they don't need me in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm telling you, I start these things and people will be in here chatting 2 days later.
But
like,
we were
wow.
we had a great discussion. I'm gonna go nerd here, but we had a great discussion about a future Doctor Who possibility, and most people would just be very adamant about, oh, it's either this or this, and it's like. And we didn't agree on everything, but it's like, well, who says it can't be this? And that was what we agreed on, but we didn't disrespect each other. And I think that's the biggest problem. Everybody thinks that their 2 cents is the only 2 cents.
I love the nerd crew. I don't care who says different. I love that the folks that hang out with me talk about Doctor Who. Next, we'll be having long discussions about Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot.
The
Magic
cartoon
the
or the
Gathering.
game?
Don't tempt me.
Oh, I like the game. I played the game back in the day, but we had a really good dude that played Dungeon Master. They had all the books, knew all the roles and what the things were. And so as you went on, and he prepared the stuff ahead of time, the adventures. I'm not going to say his name out loud, but he knows who he is if he ever does watch
Give
this.
a
And
hug to
man,
the demon.
we had fun at that. We didn't do, what's the thing, Amanda, where they pretend to be fighting? It's called
Oh, I don't know.
LARPing.
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 I thought it was
Lame
you that
ass
told me
role
before.
playing.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We didn't LARP. But we would sit around and like think. I was always a dwarf. I played a dwarf. I bet that last man, I was like level 28 dwarf. You know, I was 500 years old. Blah 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 blah. But that kind of stuff, when you get with good people that are really deep thinkers, it's one of the best creative outlets. And man, I got caught. I played on the football team, but I had my nerd bros and gals that I played Dungeons and Dragons with. Man, there was no end of prongings that I got over that. I'll tell you what.
Well,
Dude,
when
I loved Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry.
Yeah, when I play Grand Theft Auto 5, my character is a girl, and my name is still Zero Cool, and I have to spell it a certain way because you can't just do whatever you want. And I will intentionally set my character on passive mode, and there are these people, and because I want to go and do the missions and everything you're supposed to do. There's these people just blowing each other up, and they'll look at me and they'll just think, oh, it's a woman, and they run off, and it's like, yeah, last thing you want to do, buddy, and I'll blow your ass up from behind. Because I get out of passive mode for all the time that you're trying to kill me, and I'm just waving at you, you know. So that's the great thing about stuff like that is you can be a guy playing, but if you want to play a woman, for example, you know, like me, I have a strong. My mom's a strong person, my aunts and my grandma and my sister. So I know how to roll like that. And you're just basically saying, look, it's a character that looks like a woman. Get over
So
it.
Amanda, when I was 28 and again when I was 33, I dressed up as a girl on Halloween. I went to the secondhand store and I got like a pencil dress one year. You know what that is probably. And you know, I put on makeup and the whole 100 yards, and I did it again when I was 33, and I had like on a mini skirt and high heels and stockings the whole 9 years. Does that make me queer?
No, dude, I had a friend, straight as can be, but he was a Marine, for goodness sakes, but he loved, on the weekends, to get dressed up like a chick and we'd go hang out at the club together. He was better at putting on makeup than me, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you said that before. You know what? I don't have any latent stuff, but I'll tell you one thing. The 2 times I did it in my life, it was fucking fun. It was hilarious. I came into one bar that I went to pretty often when I was 28, when I was wearing that pencil dress. And at first, because I had long blonde hair then, believe it or not, at first people didn't, you know, they were seeing me from the back or whatever sides, and they didn't realize it was me until I turned around. I was like, hey, how y'all doing? They were like, that's Preacher. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's what would happen to him. We'd be standing in line, and he would get hit on more than me. And he would turn around in his deepest voice and be like, thanks.
Thanks, man. Thank you, sir. Anyway,
But
I
what
don't think it
happened
is too, because I've heard that. It's like you're queer and you're latently homosexual. Whatever. I just like
No,
that.
I don't think he's latently homosexual. What happened with him was when he was 15, he married a 30-year-old woman, and she liked for him to dress like a woman. She got him into it. And they divorced and everything. He went off and joined the Marines and all that, but he kept the habit. He liked to, on the weekends, dress up like a woman. I think he was abused into it, but, you know.
Well, you know, and look, I was in Daytona Beach Bike Week, okay? My wife, myself, a few friends of ours was moving furniture. I had a guy that traveled with me. He had his girlfriend. So we were pretty drunk, but we wanted some beer, and it's like $7 $50 for a 12-ounce shell beer is what they call it, a little beer, a tap. And so we were going down the end of the strip there at the main street in Daytona and turning around, and I seen this little place that was like winding in. It was like a cave. And we got in there. It was 50-cent draft beers. And then all of a sudden, look, we were in there dancing. Great techno. We're dancing. Bum, 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 bum. Lights flashing. Where Kevin was there. We were having a ball. And then the announcement came out. In 15 minutes, the female impersonators come on the stage. And I was thinking, female impersonators? What? And it took me a second to click. If you're impersonating being a female, that must mean you're a dude. Look, 15 minutes later, and my main thing was I got fondled that night. I'm not even kidding. In fact, Kevin got fondled, and he was like turning around going, hey, I was like, dude, let's just go, man. You're being, because if you can't, I mean, if you're in a place like that, they assume you're there for a certain reason. And if you're not, all you got to do is tell them. And if you don't want to raise a stink, they'll fucking kill you. And anyway, these dudes came out, girl, to make a very long, interesting story for me short. One of them was 6'5", 5 o'clock shadow. And then all these bikers that came in there for the same reason I did, they had them sitting on their big boobies, all of them, it seemed like, sitting on their laps, playing with their titties, kissing them. Kevin took a couple pictures. I was like, dude, you know how much money we could make following this doctor that wants to look like a biker right now back to his bike that has Ohio plates and be like, send him a letter. I don't recommend blackmail, by the way. Send him a letter in the mail that's like, look at these pictures. If you don't want them out, please send me 5,000, whatever. But there's my little, and I'll tell you, those dudes, because I stayed for a little bit before the debauch happened, and I was fondled right by my package, man. And that was a little, I feel it for girls that have been fondled. I felt dirty. And Kevin got he got the old finger on the wazooter, but from behind, a little good grab on the butt, and he didn't like that. But right before that, I was talking to a couple of these chicks. They were not gay. They were just cross dressers. It was so crazy for me. That's the one. I was like, "How'd you get the boobies?" And he was like, "Well, I took a lot of estrogen, and then I've also had implants." And I couldn't get it through my head. But you're not gay. No. I was like, "So you don't want to have sex with a dude?" No, I'm not gay. So you don't like guys? No, I don't like guys. So you have sex with girls? Yeah, fucker. I don't like dudes. I was like, okay, all right. You're dressed like a girl and you have big tits. That's amazing. So anyway, there it is. So I would even say that people in that extreme, it's so hard to judge a book by its cover. It don't matter what the cover is.
Yeah, I mean, I bet people like that, guys like that, they have no problem finding chicks. Because I know me for a fact, I would fuck the shit out of Blair White because I like dick and I like tits.
No, we were talking about that, so she does have the meat and veg.
Yeah, I would fuck her dick.
Yeah, as a male, she's not unattractive.
Man, I've had a couple beers, so I'm not going to say what I would do with Blair White.
My wife thinks she's kind of hot too. So,
man, we have a new person. I think the last person came and then left. So, how you doing, brother? You got something to say?
Doing pretty fantastic. I just wanted to come in and jump in on this because you guys keep on touching on all the subjects that I love. And
chicks with dicks?
Always chick with dicks and kung fu and taekwondo and damn.
Speaking of chicks with dicks, so you don't lose your train of thought, apparently Steve Shives has opened his mouth about freedom of speech. I just caught SDA posting a video. I'm going to go check that out later.
Did you say Steve Shives was a chick with a dick?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Steve Shives
In the same sentence.
I would not even rape that thing.
I almost spit good beer out. So I guess the next thing is I got to look at your name now. So this is the
Beard Barry.
Do we call you L? Like, it means the, like the Mexican. I don't know. Larry. Good to meet you, Larry. Yeah, in any direction you want to go.
Sorry, no, that was a bad joke. It's just call me Beard.
Okay, Beard. Cool. Like I said, we're just, we were getting off track and getting crazy. So if you have a question for Amanda, I don't think were you the gentleman that asked if what the rap battle was going to be? Anything you want, dude. Take us in some direction.
That was totally another dude, but I actually am really interested in that rap battle. I recently did a cheesy rap myself. Amanda, please, aside from just like interjecting, what did you have in mind for pulling this off? Like, how far are you going on this?
No, I'm literally just I don't do things like too deep because I got kids and shit. I don't have time for all that. I'm literally just going to take their video and have them, do part of their rap, and I'll find a good spot to cut it. And then I'll cut in with mine that will like decimate them, hopefully. And then I'll cut them back in, and it's just, y'all pick who wins at the end.
Hopefully. In other words, she's going to kill him. That's what that little giggle that's up with that.
I don't know. I don't think I'm that good, but everybody else likes it, so I try.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna let it die there. So you said you did a rap battle. I mean, what was it that you did? It's so funny to me. Look, and I'm not, racism aside, it's so funny to me when white people rap. It's just hilarious.
Oh, that was the whole point. I just thought it would be the cringiest, most terrible thing ever. And rather than it wasn't quite a rap battle, I'm doing more of those live though, because it's fucking ridiculous. Cheesy white guy standing there, yeah, suck it. But I did a cheesy rap tribute to Bearing because of the whole Bearing Tits, Sugar Tits song thing, and I went, fuck, this guy needs a cringy as fuck song. So I made a terrible white guy rap about Bearing, and it's worth checking out, but I definitely recommend getting intoxicated first.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to get Bearing on the show. I have an in with him with Ren. She's interviewed him. I think, in fact, I'm saying this now, and I haven't even asked Ren. But I'm thinking she'll help me get like the Satir Khan and Bearing and a couple others on the show. But man, you know what? That guy, I respect him because his ability to do very short, concise, and not get carried away videos. And he's an excellent musician. He really is.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Bearing's cool as fuck.
Cool as fuck. Really is.
I still get a fucking kick out of. I use YouTube Downloader to download some videos, and I got one from Bearing where he's talking about Lacey Green, and he's not doing it disrespectfully, but he edits the video where she sighs, he sighs, she sighs, he sighs, she sighs, and he sighs, and he goes, well, you can't win them all. There'll be other sighing contests, and I'm like, oh shit, that's great.
He is a master. I've got it. Like I said, there's very few people. I would say Gary Franchi, if no one knows him, Next News Network. He does very short, but he's a clickbait and son of a bitch and fear monger. I mean, all he does is news, and he does these overblown clickbaity titles, but then he does a really good about 2 or 3 minute little thing until he tries to sell you something for the last 2 minutes. And so there you go, Gary Franchi. You'll never watch this, but if you did, that's my way of saying you're okay, but quit being a shill so much. But Bearing, 3-4 minutes, right, and he's out. That's it. I really respect that when you can make a point, make it entertaining, and get the fuck out of there. You didn't ruin somebody's whole day like I tend to do.
Concise, charismatic, and hilarious. It's a perfect combo.
Yeah, well said. Concise, charismatic.
Bob Marley said it once. You can make any subject that is very simple, overly convoluted, very easily. But making a complicated subject summed up in some few lines, that's what I call talent.
Yeah, for sure. That's Occam's razor, but most people can't use that kind of razor. I mean, everybody knows what Occam's razor is, right? It means that the easiest solution to a problem is usually the correct one.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. I'm trying to find that chimp documentary.
No, it's cool, and I can't. You know what, Amanda's? I'll be honest with you, man, and I'm always gonna kiss your ass. So let me just say it. I'm honored when you come on because to me, the greatest and hardest job on earth, you're performing, and how you find time to do anything outside of eat, sleep, prepare food for your husband and your children. I don't know. Day is dead. Day, I didn't even know I sent you out this new link. The CIA shut us down again, kid.
Oh no, what happened?
I don't know. I probably said something wrong. Like I give a shit.
I was showing people how to do a Jenga, and then I got back, and we're just bullshitting me and Zero Cold. It's like I'm starting to see this. Oh, the stream's dead. Somebody hates us.
Yeah, they were getting pissed off because of his mad capoeira skills.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't call him that, but I do. Do you don't know what a Jenga is? Let's see if it happens again. Watch this, sweetie. It's a great way to exercise too. I'm sure that if you talk to your doctor, anyone can do it, no matter their skill level or unless they're crippled. Absolutely, and you're not. No matter what anybody says, there's absolutely not. So
I'm
a Jenga,
a little crippled.
A Jenga is when you hold yourself in this, and it's a swinging motion. So when this leg goes back, this hand comes up, and then you put your leg square again with this hand still up, and then this leg goes back and this hand up, and you just rock back and forth. Like
I can't do that. I don't have the balance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But that's a Jenga, and you can look it up. Oh, we didn't get kicked off that time. That was so stupid.
It wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
It wasn't that confirmed.
Oh my gracious! I'm even looking at myself over there. I'm like, oh, tapping the leg. I'm so cool. Watch me. Don't watch that. Look away.
I watched too many documentaries on the dang chimps. I'll have to, after I'm out of here, I'll have to go watch them and see which one's the right one and post it in the Hangout later.
Oh, the chimp thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, she got a ton of hate on that day. Did you see that in the comment section?
Yeah.
Well, not
I
a
don't
ton,
know.
but
You
she had
didn't really
one
have
person
a lot of time to explain yourself. I know you were a little upset that you didn't have the right amount of time to like.
I was
fully-
more upset with myself because I'm not very good at making points concise.
I hate it when I do that. Don't worry about
Well,
it.
Sargon, he's pretty like on what he wants because you all remember I was like, "Hey, Sargon, I'm so fucking cool. Listen to me, man. How about that North Korea thing? That's really important and interesting, right?" How would you? It was like, "I don't fucking care about North
I
Korea."
thought that was my fault. I thought that was on me. Everybody in the chat was, like,
It was
talk about
both of
North
us.
Korea, and I think
It
I
was-
brought it up first, so you can blame me for that.
Well, it was pressure. It was from you, Doppelganger, in the
Yeah.
chat, but I think that you and I and Dopp were feeling pressure from the chat, and I did want to ask about it. And then once I heard you,
it's totally fair to ask. It's not like a huge blunder to ask about something relevant in our world right now. Ask his opinion about it. He just didn't really have much of an opinion, which is totally fair as well.
We should have stayed on the chimps because I think he was digging that as almost as much as Syria. We'll
Maybe.
get him back
I don't
on in
know.
about 8 months. I won't
We'll
even
have
ask
to talk to
about
him
it.
again for 5.5 hours.
Well, it'll be like I said yesterday, Day. I don't know if you heard it or you were here, but I won't even ask him on for at least 8 months and probably a year because you don't want to wear something like that out, man. You know, I mean, you just don't. Yeah, apparently he's such a nice guy that the way he checked out there, he got with the Brit and he was like, "Well, I hope the ogre don't think I'm a dick." So I did.
No,
I
it's
used
fucking the best
No,
part.
I downloaded the whole thing to get that. So I did DM. I used that for
Ooh.
an excuse, and I DM'd him. I was like, "Hey, Sargon," and you know me, I sent him a DM that was like a manual. You know, and his answer was like, because I told him, I was like, "No, that was the coolest thing." I was like, "That was a great Brexit." and then I like tomed on for a while. His answer was like, "Oh, great, ogre. Hope to talk to you again."
That was awesome. Yeah, he
Anyway, that was
looked
good.
at the camera. No, just boop.
I have to say one thing though. For me, Sargon was probably the one where it was because he's so successful in doing the same thing I'm doing. But for you girls, man, except for Amanda, it was Razor Fist. Y'all seem to be taken aback by him being around.
My favorite was Dank. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Razor Fist, but I want to be like legit friends with. Like, if I could hang out with any YouTuber, I'd be like, I want to hang out with Count Dankula because
Okay, I'm
he
gonna
seems
send
like
you
my
a
kind
little
of
thing.
person.
I'm gonna send you what I did in a day. Please don't share this. The only other person that's seen it is Brett. But Brett wrote the
Okay.
lyric. Did you see the lyrics he wrote? Free Dankula.
No, he wrote a
Okay.
song.
I can't say much more
Wait,
because just for
poem,
saying that,
poem?
I'm surprised he hasn't already popped up like a genie, like I said before, and like to Mr. Ogre, really? We're working on a private collaboration, sir. You would say it live.
Just give it
Bosh
five.
and fish bosh. No, but I will send it to you because I want you to see the lyrics and what I'm doing in the chord progression to see if because look, I don't want to talk too much about
I
it.
can
But
do backing vocals.
if the worst, no, you'll have to do at least 2 verses because we do it like a We Are the World thing, where 4
Oh
or
my
5 of us
God.
would sing a verse. You know.
All
or two.
right.
That said, if the worst thing happened, which we know what that would be, we'll do it one way, you know, because the worst thing happened. But if the bad thing happens and he gets a fine or something and walks home that day, we'll do the same thing, but we'll just do it in the fashion that's what happened. So we're planning
Okay.
for both things. And if it happens, everybody associated with me that has a channel, please, you'd still be welcome to come on if you didn't do it. But if you didn't do a little 1-minute thing that said, Dankula, I love you, even though I'm small or huge or whatever you are, a girl or a boy or whatever you are, I stand with you and we hope the best for you. Man, I will think a little less of you if you don't do that.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway,
Dank is cool as fuck. Like, I didn't know him when we jumped into your chat, but I found him through there, and I've been in another stream with him since. I got a little drunk and told him, dude, just keep talking.
he's great. He's great. He actually, when he came on, even Britt said he because I think Sargon was ready to jet, and then think like a freaking just like a saving angel from heaven on high.
That was
Count
your
Dankula
stream I
just-
was in, okay.
Oh yeah, you were tipsy that night.
Yeah, I was like, dude,
You don't
just keep
drink
talking.
much.
I don't really, not anymore. I did when I first started YouTube. Every stream I was in, I was drunk off my ass. But I realized
I usually
didn't
get
do that.
tipsy, at least.
Dude, it helped with my anxiety, but I got to a point where I don't really have to do that anymore, and I realized I should not. It
Well,
costs
it's-
a lot of money.
It's better if
And
you
it's
can,
fun.
especially if you live stream a lot. You're gonna be drinking way more than you used to.
Yeah, and look, I'm gonna tell you, I'd start church early for the people in Britain, and now my French friend. You know, that's why I started 3. But you know, there's 28 people watching us right now on a Wednesday, and I wasn't even supposed to do it today. So I don't know. Some folks that join us, in fact, you can hear me. If you join us for the fuckery, just say I join you for the fuckery. If you join us because you want us to be serious and talk about news, say that. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people join us for the fuckery.
We stream often enough that I think we have a pretty good variety of both.
Yeah,
I
like
honestly gotta say, as a I don't know, better guy, it's the balance. You got both. It's the both that count. That's where it sells.
I'm sorry, personally. I'm enjoying the popcorn of seeing non-gun, you know, like people that are defending reinforcement of gun laws, basically shit posting at our politicians in France. So sorry,
oh yeah, Jeremy's dying because they're taking away the they were not reissuing licenses even for people that do contract hunts for restaurants and bring back game for them to eat. They're saying, "No, we don't want that."
Fuck them. Do what you want.
I was listening when you were talking about that, Jeremy. And hi, nice to meet you, by the way. But yeah, that's fucked up. And so they got rid of the I can't remember what you were saying. They got rid of the president's right to eject someone from, what are they called? The
Prophet.
The Prophet, yeah. So they can't eject this, so they're there for like life now?
Yeah, they're just life employed without being fireable.
It's kind of like our Congress. But yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, and
no, the Congress and Senate still fear us. There's the difference.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but basically, even the people who are generally opposed to guns are like, no, I'm sorry, those guys are playing by the rules. Fuck you.
Yeah, there's still a certain base level of rights you should have, especially if they're like hunters and game hunters and stuff.
Yeah, basically
like, we need food, motherfucker.
Yeah, there's basically everybody is pissed by realizing that just before quitting the job, just before being replaced by another president, oh, I left you that little poison gift. Fuck you.
Don't they always just like drop it right before they're out? They're like, here, I'm out. Just slide it under the rug there.
Yeah.
I should have totally called it 5 minutes and the Britishers here.
Oh, he's here?
Oh, he's here. He's in the chat.
Oh, he's in the chat.
Oh, I'm gonna send him a link. I didn't send him a link because, and look, Brett, come in if you want and don't if you don't, man. Look, the guy, I can't even say enough about him. There's very few people that are able. Amanda, you said bullet points, okay? I was just double checking because sometimes your stuff is so concise that I feel like you must have a script. But anyway, the Britisher writes out every freaking word. Dave, did you do that in the last video you did? You wrote out y'all wrote out all those words, didn't you?
What?
Y'all wrote out all the words that you used in the last video you did. That's the
words?
Show. Did you all have a script?
Oh, yeah, kind of, a little bit. Bullet points. We kind of changed it in the middle of doing it.
Y'all make me feel better about that because I'm a bullet point kind of guy. The whole idea of sitting down like the Britisher does, he writes every word out. And then he'll speak that into a microphone. And if it isn't perfect, he does it again and again and again and again and again. I thought I was OCD until I met this guy. Yeah,
that's not really my style of video, though. If I was going to do like a pure like dialogue piece like that, I'd have to write it out just to be able to get everything. Because he's really like fact driven and to the point, and I'm a little bit more off the cuff and like less serious than him.
That's me too.
Yeah.
But there are sometimes my bullet points are a little long because I want to make sure, like I said, I'm bad with being concise, and I want to make sure I get it exactly the way I want to say it. So sometimes, if I have a long point to make, I will shorten it up and write it out because that makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, I'm always going to probably do things my way, which is I think about stuff a lot. I've done a lot of public speeches, sermons, whatever. And so what I do is I think about what I want to say, then I make bullet points. And while I'm saying it, the bullet points are right here, just like I would have in a pulpit or whatever, so that I can still, that's why the glasses too, folks. It's two things. I'm not doing it today because it's my day off. When I'm doing this, the light's pointed right at me, so I need the and with the glasses on, you can't see me doing all this stuff. It just looks like I'm looking at the camera. And let's face it, I just did it. I'm looking over here while I'm looking at the camera. Isn't it nicer when I look you in the eyes and you can see my beautiful blue eyes? Of course, with the glasses, you can't. There's the Brett.
British.
There you
Good evening.
Hey,
Good
Brett.
evening.
Good evening.
How are we all doing?
Good.
go. I'm better now, brother.
Yourself?
Yes, I saw the first link didn't work. I just saw your comment there that something crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was weird. I don't know what. We've had a lot of high winds here. It's very possible that my service was just interrupted because if it gets cut off here, even for just a second, it would crash. I didn't try to restart that one. I just said screw it. It's kind of fun when we say the CIA crashed and start a new one anyway.
Of course, you can imagine mentally I'm most perturbed at the moment, given that I've spotted that there's a Frenchman in the chat.
Yeah.
Two Frenchmen in here.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Bye, Peter.
Oh, he's okay with us
He's,
loudmouth Yankee Americans, but it comes to a Frenchman and he gets
Oh yeah, of course he's
hell?
English, but I will say
yeah.
for a communist Frenchman, he's pretty cool.
I will try very hard not to mention Waterloo.
You know, he's a
Better go there.
bisexual communist Frenchman. You get that right.
That's fine with me. I don't care. I'm like he said about the. Hey man, we were saying, and I forgot it. I was looking through the whole damn thing today, and I feel so narcissistic even watching my shit when I'm just looking for what you said. So the cum thing. How did you say that again, sir?
The calm thing.
Well, Jeremy, you know what I'm talking about. If you're still there, he disappeared right there to make me look stupid. It was like the Zero. Weren't you here? He told us how to say. Oh, gracious.
I don't know. I'm old.
I don't give a jizz.
Oh,
Je m'en fous.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeremy. Say it again.
Well, basically the French equivalent of I don't give a shit, which basically translates to I don't give a jizz. Je m'en fous.
Yeah, je m'en fous. Je m'en fous. I gotta
Je m'en
remember that, bro.
fous. You don't give a
Because
shit. Je
it
m'en fous.
translates to I don't give a cum. Je m'en fous. The
I'm gonna
French are
fuck with
pretty
every
dirty.
French Canadian I meet.
Here
Oh,
in
gracious.
Texas-
You know what? And I'm supposed to be more serious than the Britishers here, and we're talking about je m'en fous.
Here in Texas, we say dillygaff. Do I look like I give a fuck?
Dilliga. It's just an acronym.
Yeah.
Oh!
But it's become like the thing to say, dillygaff. Don't give a fuck.
Dilliga.
Look at this face. Look at
Yeah, don't let me
the
ruin
fucks
it. Don't. Britisher, did you come on for a specific reason, or are you just gracing my little?
No,
stupid
I
life?
sort of just drifted in. I got tired of editing Mr. Trump and decided to come in here for a bit, just in order to get away from him.
I have been
Make everybody
waiting with
tired.
bated breath to see your next video. I'm checking now. It's not up because I got a little.
No, nothing is up. No, I'm still editing audio.
Oh, no pressure, man. I'm sure it'll be
Tired.
up in your own good time, sir.
You know, it's basically going to be a roundup of the first 100 days of basically what he actually did do, which he said he would do, and what he didn't do that he said he would do.
Let me send you a reference to
Tired than
MCJK.
Trump. Two altogether.
Let's see if I can do this. I can. I'm going to send you a link from about the Syrian gas attacks, Brett. I don't know if you'll use it or not. In fact, if you're so busy, just don't even look at it. But I mean, MC, I'll tell you what, I love the guy. I hope he's listening right now. But no buts till I love it. I love the guy. And he will stand up with the red, white, and blue. I don't care what that red, white, and blue does. So, there's that.
You're talking to the French tricolore again, are you?
Well, I mean, some people don't care. I'm not even gonna dignify that, but I will say that some people will stand up for.
You might have noticed that, for example, our flag too is also red, white, and blue. There's
Yes.
a kind of theme, you know. It applies to the Netherlands, the Russian Republic, and I'm sure we can find quite a few
oddly
others.
enough, isn't the Russian Republic and the French flag reversed?
No, I think that is the Netherlands and the Russian Republic.
Okay.
Well, and the
Russia,
problem is
right.
here they teach us a whole different thing, Brett. They say the red is for the blood and the white is, I don't even remember. The white is for purity and the blue is for honor and honesty, I believe.
Yeah,
So
whereas in
they've
fact
even-
it was just a spin on the flag of the East India Company, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? I thought Betsy Ross made it with her own feeble hands.
Well,
That's a
yes, but it
pocket
was
Betsy
whether she
Ross.
made it or not, it will still have just been a rip-off of the East India Company.
It
And
wasn't
she
her, it was
sewed
somebody
it.
else.
You didn't come up with it. Yeah, thank you. That's what I was trying to say. That's
can't
just a
remember the chick's
folklore.
name.
Bull crap. Anyway, just like, I mean, if you look at our dollar bill, sir, and you look at the back of it, it's obvious that Freemasons designed it. It has all their stuff in it. But they say that this guy designed. I mean, it's all like Betsy Ross. I'm sure she was a great woman. I'm not going to say anything bad about her. But did she design this flag? The 13
Which
with the
just so happened to look so much like the flag of the East India Company at the time. Yeah.
So much like. And so funny thing is that the East India Company allegedly was funding the rabble rousers that eventually, rebelled against their rightful rulers, the British.
Well, I would very
The
much
rightful
doubt
rulers
that.
my ass.
I thought that would spark something.
Nobody rightfully rules me.
Well, how
Well,
many
it was
asses
there- it
need
was
to be
there.
ruled around here? I don't think Ogre and I are up for the job right now.
I've got a lot of spare time. Send them my way.
What do
Well,
you
you
say?
see, the only reason this independence malarkey came about was because the French helped you. So the day the British and the French actually get together, you're screwed.
Here he goes. There he goes.
You wish.
Oh, I
We don't
won't. I
want
would say
anyone.
this: the day the French and the British get together, number one, hell will be a very cold place, and number two, yeah, the whole world would be fucked, man, because you do have a lot of stuff going for you between the two countries, not just militarily. In other
I feel
words,
sorry
everybody
for
would
the
want to be
Muslims
y'all.
over in your countries. That's who I'd be worried about before the Americans.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, the funny
that-
thing is Jeremy's more worried about their gun rights right now than the Muslims. But what were you gonna say, man?
I was gonna say that
Maybe they're the same thing.
the British and the French could gang up, and America would still kick their asses because y'all are overrun.
Well, they made the
America?
mistake of letting us run wild and breed up to 300 million. So yeah, it probably might be a little problem for them. And
But
also, we're so crazy.
We managed. Numbers don't matter to us. We managed to take over India. We managed to take over pretty much the entire African continent.
300 years ago with wooden ships.
Well, that actually wasn't that long ago, and we even did something that you've never even attempted.
What?
We took Beijing.
Oh, I won't deny that. Yep, they drive on the left side of the road.
But you could
Well, and
never come take America because we all got guns and y'all ain't got none.
That's where you're mistaken. You see, the reason we're not taking America is we're not bothered.
All right, well, wow, no.
There's nothing there, just hamburgers and.
Oh,
Keep not being
And
bothered.
it's
Okay,
really
I
nothing. We
got
don't really
nothing to say.
manufacture much anymore.
Hey, what do you got over there? Like shitty weather and horrible food?
Are we including the French in this?
Tiny chefs.
No.
Tiny chefs.
Oh, it was us against the French and English. Well, so yeah, I would say, because I've had froid. I even mentioned it earlier. It's the most disgusting thing. And what they do to those poor geese. You should be ashamed of yourself, Frenchmen.
Oh man, but a good escargot, you can't turn down a good escargot.
Oh, and I love me some good veal too, so I can't talk.
I like
Escargot.
croissants.
No, that's just a crime against humanity. That
what?
escargot and lots of garlic.
Oh yeah.
It's a fucking snail, Britisher. That's disgusting, man. Sorry.
But it's
I know
so
you don't.
delicious.
You saying you eat escargot, Brett?
No,
No. Okay.
I refuse.
I was
Fuck
just-
eat
I refuse to
snails.
contemplate it.
Nobody. Only people that want to think that they're all high class. Oh, I eat escargot. They're the only fucking people. And if you pointed out to them you're eating snails, they would be grossed out.
I think
They're
most
all
people
eating
know they're
smoking up
snails.
weed. They
No,
sound
they
good.
know, but they can't think of them as
Well,
snails.
I'll try it, but I'll
They're
tell you what, the
regular
only French food I've ever liked come from Louisiana, man, down at Baton Rouge at the Tiger Truck Stop, Baudin balls and etouffee and crawfish. They eat some weird shit, but tastes
But
so
they pop
good.
a lot of Creole on top.
Thank you. It's so good. And you know,
I
you're
like
close
bread.
enough to Louisiana. You know what their food is, girl. I mean, the real food there, man. Like,
Oh,
You
I
ever been
got
to Louisiana?
family from Louisiana.
I mean, when it comes to food, as long as people let me continue my tradition of horse meat eating and let me teach my kids that horse meat is good for you, you can do whatever you want with your food. Just let me eat my horse in peace.
I don't care if somebody eats horse meat. I don't give a shit.
Do you see horse meat as particularly superior to beef?
Well, it's actually a demonstrated fact chemically and by dietitians, but yeah. First
Well, they're-
and second of no,
More
no,
muscle.
I'm gonna respond to Britisher honestly. People that are not members of region where horse meat eating is a tradition want that particular tradition of the other regions to go the fuck away. So they create regulations year in and year out, and they make so strong health regulations that actually in France, horse meat is the safest meat of all.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. I think particularly when it came to sort of tranquilizers and painkillers and whatever injected to horses, I think that a lot of that has been forbidden, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But no, as such, I mean, I have had horse meat, and I couldn't tell the difference between horse meat and beef.
So I thought it was a joke at first. So you're saying that where you're at, Jeremy, they eat horse meat and other people just don't want, I mean, what's the argument for not, I'm really clueless on this, because to me, if you have a horse and you want to eat it, good on you. So there are people that don't want that?
Yeah, there are people that think horses are majestic, intelligent creatures.
Give me a fucking break. You ever seen a bull? You ever seen a Brahma bull? They're the most majestic.
Right.
Well, I'm just no, I'm not agreeing. I'm not but I'm just when you said that, it just struck me as what the fuck? Have you ever seen a buck in the rut? Man, hunters line up on a buck. Just got done humping a doe, man, on the high of his life. 12-point buck, man, 200. Boom! That's what it's all about, kind of. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying eat whatever you want. I couldn't personally eat horse because I love horses. But that's
man, I would eat unicorn. The more majestic the animal, the better it tastes. Give me a grizzly bear, man. Rare.
No, I have absolutely no problem with the French tradition of eating horse. I would gladly join in. The things I have problems with are things like escargot, and of course, there is good reason why we call the French frogs.
Is it just personal taste?
You couldn't get me within a mile of frog legs.
Ooh, yeah, I can't say that. Now I've had them Royal Britisher, and I can't stomach them. But when they're battered and deep fried, man, I eat the There's a little place outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. Oh my goodness, it's just a trailer by a Flying J truck stop. Little red trailer.
In Arkansas.
Oh, I'm telling you, and I don't mean a trailer like a trailer home. I mean a pool behind a caravan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A freaking holiday thing. And oh my gracious, there's a big fat guy that sells you the food. A big fat black dude, greasy. He carries something like this because I got this in my pocket today because it was sunny because I'm a big fat white guy, and to wipe the sweat. And he's there selling you the food. And then there's this tall, lanky Negro, man. I mean, 6'6", lanky. Skinny, looks like he's never eaten anything in his life. He's the one barbecuing the stuff on the grill, and you can smell. Anyway, that's a long diatribe. But that said, Brett, you said you wouldn't get within a mile. I would challenge you to try, if I could sneak one of these on your plate and you didn't know what it was. I'm like, hey, try that, bro. And you were like, I think maybe that you would eat it and say, wow, that's pretty good. What is that? And then I'd tell you it's from. But it depends upon where you get them, and I can't stomach them when I can see that it was a frog leg. And for me, I couldn't tell you the taste because when I had it right here, bro, it was I'm looking at a frog leg and I could see the tendon in its thing, and I was like, nah.
Actually, there is also one thing that's also worth pointing out when it comes to cuisine, and that is that the Caribbean is actually named after the Caribs, who were the cannibalistic tribe who lived on the islands. And they actually, because they had sort of in the early days of, the whites arriving in the Caribbean, they got to effectively try several of them. So they actually established that they thought the French tasted best.
It's all the horse meat.
You're kidding. Yeah, that's a joke.
No, it's not a joke. That actually came down through history. That the Caribs apparently thought the French tasted best.
Do any human beings still eat people right now, British on Earth, that you know?
Yes.
I wouldn't know of any today.
So who is it, Amanda? I actually know, but
I would have to get the name up, but there's
Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, there you go.
Papua New Guinea. If you go there now,
that's the place where the headhunters were around. One or two generations ago.
Not only Papua New Guinea, but that's the place where, to this day, in fact, there's a place in South America on the big river down there that I should obviously know. I just got Papua New Guinea, but the giant Amazon, and there's still tribes there that, in fact, everybody probably knows that the remotest place in the world, it's an island. If you try to land there, they'll kill you.
Yeah, you can't land there.
They won't let you land. Nobody goes there. It's the forbidden island.
A little place in the Indian Ocean, sort of off India.
But these other two places, if they find you there, they will still kill you, Britt. They will still gut you. and then pass you around with a pilaf as if you were a goose cooked for Thanksgiving, sir. They eat you. They eat you. And talk about, hey, this guy sounded funny. He does taste better than the last one. And it's like, no, I prefer that dark meat we had last time. That guy from Africa was much better. And no, the yellow meat is my favorite there,
Well, that was pretty much the Caribs. Basically, because the Buccaneers were around.
Yeah, would you eat a human being if you were hungry? Would you eat a little people?
I don't know, but I know there's still like tribes or certain people. I think it might be in India who at least eat their dead, like as a sign of respect and like I don't know, consecration. Like
wasn't there that American reporter? Was he CNN or NBC or whatever?
I think that's where I saw
ended
it.
up on a beach with a supposed cannibal.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw it on.
But he left the beach without being eaten.
Yeah, because they eat other people.
But the other guy started throwing
I think he
feces
ate
at
a
him, I
brain, like a very, very crunchy, charred brain.
Usually for them, this is the way it works. They battle each other, and these wars, just like our natives did here in America, where it's a war because somebody's coming and trying to take what you've kept and hopefully make you through the winter, and they didn't keep enough. Usually this is how it went, and they're coming trying to take what's yours to feed their children because they weren't as lucky as you. That's how most of the battles go there. Well, if you're successful, you're going to take some humans back with you. If you're not successful, you are supper tonight. We're having you for dinner tonight.
Don't eat
Charlie Mandu. Yeah, don't. But anyway, I did wonder because I thought about it myself. You see these movies that they did, British, like the people that go to the Himalayas, and it's like the stigma, the Donner Party still stigmatized this day. In my mind, man, if someone is dead there, they're dead there, right? They're done.
Oh, yeah. If I was in a survival sort of situation and people were dying off, I'd be like, fuck it.
I wouldn't even feel bad.
Yeah, no, I would feel like they would want it almost.
It's a very deep running stigma. That basically, I remember, oh God, what was it? There was a siege in ancient Spain where the Romans laid siege to a town. And it is one of the most famous sort of places of combat between the ancient Spanish and the Romans. And eventually the Romans managed to break in and take the city. And they found out that the siege had been so hard and so long on the Spanish population that they'd actually fallen to cannibalism.
Well, in 70 AD, they did that in Jerusalem too. A lot of times. The Romans were.
And the Romans simply wouldn't have it because they sort of thought, no, that's no matter how hard pressed you are, you can't do that. So it does seem that the idea of cannibalism is so deeply ingrained within us as a kind of a wrong that even the Romans, who are kind of, very much seen as the people who fight to the last, even they said, no, that's where we draw the line.
Well, that's because it is actually bad for us. Like, you shouldn't eat people. You will. There's a protein, and you'll go crazy if you eat enough people.
Actually, that's a bit of a faux pas. What it actually is that can do that, because I mean, if you are stuck in that situation, in all seriousness, it's brain matter and spinal fluid that ruin the human body. So you can consume everything else, but that, don't touch it. No brain matter, no spinal fluid.
And if they do consume it, they like burn the shit out of it until it's like a fried little crisp and there's basically nothing left. But yeah, no, that's where the danger is.
Actually, Gallic tribes also practiced cannibalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people did, especially in that fashion. Like, in other words, you live in a rough place and you've just battled some people, and you don't, you may have enough stores for the winter anyway, but you're like you say, Gaelics. I mean, that's a rough winter, man. You got some shit and whatnot. So you might want to also people up and have some people, on Christmas for a change of diet.
I remember also years and years ago reading of some caves or whatever that they found in Germany. They discovered some human remains in it, from ancient times. And this would have been roughly around the time of the Romans or whatever. And you know how they find the telltale cut marks on the bones that give away that this person was obviously consumed.
They were eaten.
If you know what I mean.
They've been eaten on. Somebody's eating on them people.
So there seems to be a reason why the Greeks and the Romans effectively gave the northern tribes of Europe a rather bad press. Because they were literally eating people.
And Ogre, if you want to sound real Southern and rednecky, you gotta say "et."
I was just like, I was actually thinking about, there was a guy named Phil Hendry, and he would be, I think I've said it on the show, but this guy's a genius. He started kind of mock radio, and one night in Orlando, and in 1992, he was bored. I was listening to radio that night, and he was like, he had a caller call in, but it was him, and this is one of his skits. He was like, Mavis Leonard, a Southern Baptist, goes to a Catholic funeral one day, and her grandson died in a horrible drive-by shooting. This is all made up, right? And horrible drive-by shooting. And when she's there, they said that in the body of Jesus, they were going to eat it. And she's like, and I quote, "They went there, they want to mac on Jesus. I just can't believe that somebody want to eat the Lord. How could you want to eat the Lord? You don't want to eat the Lord? I'm a God-fearing Baptist woman." And he does both parts. He switched back and forth real quick. And if my accent was too terrible, she said, "I don't want to eat Jesus. They said they were going to mac on Jesus. Why would someone want to mac on my Lord?" And then she goes in this diatribe about they might want to mac on my boy in the coffin. If they're going to eat Jesus, why wouldn't they eat my boy? He's fresher.
Is that where the name Big Mac comes from?
I think that may be where the term macking on came from, now that you said that, but I don't know where macking on came from. Probably like macking, like a Big Mac. I don't know. But that's anyway. There you go. So when I said that, macking, I was just thinking, because cannibalism, Catholics, they say they reproduce it at every mass, because he does the prima donna, blah, 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 and he says, and the he puts the body back in the wafer. And if you're Catholic,
the blood of Christ, isn't it?
You believe that it is. If you're Catholic, you believe you are drinking the actual, and that might, some big Catholics might be going, if you're Catholic out there, just take a chill pill. The Catholic is the beast of Revelation 12.
They don't think, I don't know. My whole family was Catholic.
Harlot. So if you believe in Christianity, man, they're terrible anyway.
Okay, well, look at it from a real world scenario. Let's talk The Walking Dead. And I'm not going to go into the whole
scenarios.
We're really in the real world scenario here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. If you really think about anything that could perceive up to the timeline of The Walking Dead is still a realistic expectation of what could happen. My point is, in season 5, the season 6, they are dealing with a place called Terminus, in which they built a shelter there for people to come in and survive and create a community, only to be raided.
Kind of where they lost me.
And just let me finish. You all had your cannibal turns. It's my cannibal turn.
Sorry.
This is something that can seriously happen. I'm not talking about The Walking Dead itself. I'm talking about the idea: should civilization fall?
I like the comedian, the guy that played the comedian in The Walking Dead with the bat. They actually had a meme with him on for the whole. What's his name?
His character's name's Negan. But my point is, Terminus would exist because people would try to find shelter in a large group. It could get raided to where all the food supplies were taken away, and you're dealing with people who do not, in America on a large scale, whether you like it or not, do not know what it means to hunt and or fish.
Oh yeah, that's important stuff too.
Reverting to cannibalism would be a viable option.
Sometime, man. So, Day, have you seen the movie that I was just referring to, the comedian, with Rorschach, and are you into movies like that?
It's a Watchmen.
Who has seen the Watchmen?
Yes, and I read the graphic novel as well.
Okay, if I was any character that was ever created, I imagine I would be the comedian.
I can see that.
Oh yeah, I mean, when he fucks that girl on the thing just because he knew she wanted it, it was like he was the baddest character, and then at the end he's like, it's all a jolly joke. And dude, man, just throws him out the fucking window, and you can see him when he's falling down. He's like, fuck it. So.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm quite clear on this. If I were to be a figure from fiction, I would more than likely want to be Flashman.
It's hard for me to admit that. But who?
Flashman. It's a hero from a series of books. I think there are 12 books. He is you know how Arthur Conan Doyle is kind of credited with having created a unique character when he created Sherlock Holmes. And he kind of created the first detective for the detective novel. Well, Flashman is the first classical anti-hero. I think he was created somewhere in the 60s or whatever. And there is a famous book, I think it's Tom Brown's School Days. And Flashman in that is the bully. And this author, somewhere in the 60s, decided, why don't I write a novel in which this guy features? And he wrote it from the perspective of the good guys are not the ones who win. It's the bastards. So he basically set out to create this world in which he shows how a bastard like the bully from John Brown School Days, how he actually is the one who prospers. That whatever he does, things go right for him because he's a complete swine.
Like a sociopathic, like, just get what they want.
He's a liar, he's a cheat, he's a coward. He basically has no perceivable virtue whatsoever. And yet he ends up a national hero with money, with status. Sorry, yeah?
It's Machiavelli's The Prince as a character properly portrayed.
Oh, yeah.
Along those lines, yes, he isn't necessarily that Machiavellian, but he's
it's all just about power play anyways.
He's a bastard throughout, and he's always the one who comes up smelling of roses. So basically, the lucky ones are the bastards. That's effectively what the book says. Well, all 12 books say. And he became a very sort of famous character because people just love him. That he is an utter swine, and yet he's absolutely lovable.
And you're an utter swine? Is that what you mean? No, I'm just teasing. Because the guy that I actually think that sometimes you see someone that you would like to live vicariously through. I should say that. Because that character also that someone pointed out, the Watchmen, the comedian just shoots this woman in the face because she's pregnant and he's got to leave Vietnam and she's giving him a hassle. So he's drunk at the bar. She comes in her house and he's like, boom. And remember, it's a comic book. And I don't condone that, but I did think it was great how after he did that, he just was like, he told the blue naked dude, he was like, fuck you, it's your fault. You could have turned the bullet
Dr. Manhattan. It was the perspective of the test of morality on behalf of Dr. Manhattan. And why he had all this power that he didn't want to do.
He was like going through fucking and then when they dropped down in the city and he's like, I do like to be working at home again. Dude man's fucking off over there. He's just shooting some bitch with the shotgun. Then he breaks out the damn grenade the little smoke launcher and aims right. I mean, the guy is ruthlessly funny and ruthless.
Hey,
it's something, and I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying, man, there's nothing good about
last 5 minutes against Batman. Sorry.
Hey, I gotta go there. My kids.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
See you,
Bye, Amanda.
Bye, Amanda.
Given that we have a real-life Frenchman in here, I have to ask this: who is going to win the French election?
He's talked about that for like 2 days straight.
Because I think it's going to be Macron.
I think you're all fucked.
It's tough. It's tough, Britisher. It's really tough. And whoever is gonna win this particular election, his or her presidency is gonna suck so bad.
Jeremy, don't they have to basically contend with what we would call a Senate and Congress that are going to hate their guts regardless?
Yeah, that basically like the legislative elections is going to be basically everybody is going to vote to give counterpower to the legislative chamber.
But I think the president in France does have quite a few executive powers, doesn't he? I think the president in France does have quite a considerable amount of powers.
What are you referring to?
Well, I don't know specifically because I'm not that read up on French constitutional power, but I think as such he is quite a powerful constitutional figure, the French president.
Yes and no, actually.
Okay, educate me.
So first, for example, the government, so all of his ministers, all of the ministries, they can only make proposals of laws to the legislative chambers. They cannot enforce a proposal of law without being debated. But when the conversation grinds to a screeching halt, they can indeed pull up a superpower move and take legislative power and say, I'm sorry, I'm fed up with you bickering over each other. So whatever the state of the law is right now, that's what I am enforcing and that's what I'm coining as a law.
Okay. So they do have a way of basically breaking a deadlock.
Yeah, they have a super move to break a deadlock. Yes, for example, that's one of the things that the president has. Problem is that he cannot do this if, well, he can actually do this, but if the French population is not okay with it, the parliament can then precipitate a presidential election. If
so they can effectively take revenge should he do it on something important.
Yeah, exactly.
Does he have the power over peace and war? I mean, to what extent can the president go to war?
Go to war?
Yes. You know, if he wants to bomb Libya or something like that. Do you remember Sarkozy
he's full powerful for this. He's the sole commander-in-chief.
Yeah, so he doesn't really need to go to Parliament and ask for permission to go to war.
Well, like I said yesterday, the only thing that the president in France needs to do to authorize military personnel to use nuclear force is to say by all means necessary.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he needs to say that's the only thing he needs to do in order to provide nuclear force to the military personnel. Which generally military people look back at the president and say, you realize that you just authorized me to use nuclear force, right?
Well put.
That happened 3 times with Sarkozy. Like, this guy was horrible at leading our army.
Well, he was distracted.
He was also drunk and having anger management issues like crazy.
Yes, but what was she called? Something Bruni, wasn't it?
Bruni?
Carla Bruni?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he was distracted with other things. You need to allow him for that. And he was French. I mean, those two things together, Carla Bruni and a Frenchman. I mean,
you really don't like them Frenchies, do you, Brett?
No, I don't think he will have necessarily have seen that as an insult, will he?
Oh no, it's just the way you say French. It's like when you say years. You can't say years without sounding pompous, no matter what you do. You're not trying to sound pompous. It's the way it comes out to the Americans. Like yes. It's like, whoa, what did I do to you, bro? You mad? Yes. No, just teasing.
British pompous asshole confirmed.
No, I'm just trying to be a dick. You know what? I wanted to ask you if I could talk at all about the project we were working on, Britisher, because I already did a little bit earlier.
I heard a bit of your talking about it.
Did that bother
he's
you
always listening.
And I winced inwardly. Yes.
Okay.
But it's out there now, so.
Well, there was only like probably at the time I think there were 8 people watching, maybe 20. It was something like that. It was between that number. And who cares anyway? Nobody will remember that. It was the beginning people that actually want me to read Herman Melville, Britt. I ain't shitting. I'm just like a quarter of the way done with the 3rd chapter of Melville's Moby Dick. And today somebody came in late. I won't say who in case they're still here. I'm looking, but they were like, "Did I miss Melville?" And I was like, "Yeah, sorry, I ain't doing it again. It'll be on tomorrow. You can watch it again, as soon as I upload it." But anyway, I think that's cool that people are tuning in to hear Moby Dick. About 4 paragraphs at a time. It just tickles me to death.
Well, actually, there's one thing I need to mention, just in order to show that I am willing to grant that the French have 1 or 2 things on their side. And that is that they did provide one remarkable contribution to comedy. And that is Louis de Funès and his policeman trying to round up the nudist on the beach.
Okay, it's on like Donkey Kong. Find that.
I have no idea.
Here.
I think he knows what I'm talking about.
We're not going to talk about that film, please, British.
Oh, it's too late, man. It's in the air now. We got to talk about this film.
Now I want to know.
I don't know it either, but when I hear somebody saying a bunch of cops chasing a naked chick, why the hell don't you want to see it?
Well, that's what I'm, the links. No, I was saying I want to see it. We got to screen share it now.
Where's it at?
A little clip, just a snippet.
If somebody sees it if somebody sends it on the side, I'll put it up or whatever. If they put it up, I'll screen share it.
Nothing else, we can edit it to Benny Hill music.
I mean, look at this, Dave.
I think we're very much.
But I want your honest opinion about this thing here.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab a trailer for the film.
I would like your honest opinion about the costume design.
We're in my territory now. Let's bring it.
I think it's pretty accurate to the comic or the.
Well, what I was asking is the Britisher specifically on his opinion on this particular costume design right here.
Well, when it comes to the costume designs, I always say the costume design, no matter what it is only really as good as the filling.
Yeah, the body it is.
Well, if Malin Ackerman doesn't have filling for you, Britisher, you've got mental issues.
And Mercy does that. And for the ladies, there's the comedian.
I'll give you some filling.
Batman could kick his ass. Judge
Well,
Dredd could kick his ass.
You know what I would say in the comic world, since we're being hypothetical, obviously talking about comics, I would say this. Among the comic book characters in the comic sphere, there probably are two really, really tough characters that are not superpowered in any way. And that would be Batman first and foremost, and then probably the Punisher. And because Daredevil, you can't put him in the character of not having, something, because Batman ain't got shit. He's got money and he works out. That's what he's got. So anyway, that was probably crazy for the Brit, because yes, I've read comics my whole life, and I
have pretty much got a substantial sort of graphic novel industry and have had for decades.
Didn't they start like porno and stuff? I know that the people up there in Quebec, that they started the tabloid magazine that has like butt naked people on the front, like right there where kids can see it. I don't give a fuck. The French are dirty people.
Yeah, no, what I mean is actual comic books, but they would call it graphic novels.
Right. There's Doc.
Very, very high quality.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Hey, Mark.
Dapple.
Cereal and comic books and trade paperbacks.
So, Brett, when they did they have superheroes like we do, or was it?
No, it tends more to be sort of science fiction, a lot of it. And also sort of, Mad Max worlds, that's sort of, end of times kind of stuff.
Yeah, I read all kinds of
stuff. I have a friend in Europe who, has always been into collecting that kind of stuff, and very, very high end design, sort of very often sort of limited, editions and things like that. But, you look at the stuff and you sort of think, well, hang on a moment, this is getting pretty close to actual art, as opposed to just comic book, design.
I think
so the French seem to have taken it to an altogether different level. And then, of course, when it comes to ordinary comic books, the French win anyway, because when you've got the choice between Batman and Superman or whatever, or Asterix, then Asterix is going to win every time.
I beg to differ. I think Japanese manga puts all that shit to shame.
I don't know.
Seriously, he's just licking my balls the same time, right?
If you want a real good Franco-Belgian comic, Valerian really kicks ass, and basically a lot of stuff that they introduced in Valerian was later on used in Star Wars. There are kind of parallels between each other.
Yeah, actually, the Valerian comic book series is going to be adapted it's going to be released this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Luc Besson has actually finally acquired the rights to make an adaptation. So the first adaptation has been made.
What's Besson got his hands on now?
Valerian.
Oh, okay.
So he's got his hands on the adaptation rights.
Huh. That'll be interesting, to say the least. He's always coming up with something unique.
You still eating cereal?
Yeah, so I'm on break.
Sorry, I can't find a good trailer where we can see Louis de Funès chasing naked girls.
Chasing the nudist. Yeah, that was just...
I'll have to look it up on my own time.
Which one was it? You'll be able to help me with this one. There was one where he played a food expert. He was an absolute he wrote something like the Michelin Guide.
Oh, L'aile ou la cuisson.
And basically he ends up, I think, in a fast food factory and loses his taste.
Yeah.
That was a real classic one of Louis de Funès.
Yeah, that was L'aile ou la cuisse. Yes. Still broadcasted. It's still broadcasted over here. It's actually a Christmas special.
Yeah.
It turned into a Christmas special over here in France.
I think
in France we have the weirdest Christmas special films, I think. Like we have the weirdest shit. Like every time American students that I was taking care of, they were weirded out by Christmas TV in France. They're like, your Christmas TV is weird.
You don't just watch repeats of Home Alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody watches Home Alone anymore.
I like it.
Basically, what to answer today, what we broadcast on Christmas time, very few movies actually relate to Christmas. Very few of them.
Okay, so here we have a blog post which details some of the, well, let's say, artistic borrowings that Star Wars took from Valerian, the comic series. And if you scroll down, there are some screenshots and pictures. This is the two main characters from the comic series, Valerian and Laureli, I believe.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but I got one sentence. George Lucas was influenced by Flash Gordon, and he's proven it, period.
Well, have a look at what
Flash Gordon.
Look at the lower left panel.
Someone can be influenced by many different things.
Yeah.
Scroll down, Ogre, please.
Looks like
plus George Lucas has always
That's
George
not Carbonite. I'm calling bullshit on that slave outfit right now.
It's close.
Go next.
Laura Leanne's is way more beautiful.
Oh, that's pretty.
And that's
cool.
very Princess of Mars.
I'm gonna say this plump girl there looks very tasty.
That's actually unrelated to the comic series.
Oh, sorry, but she just
she's good.
That's
like a ripe plum.
That's Eric Frazetta,
like
right? Yeah, Frank
Frazetta. Like a ripe plum.
And if you really want to get to it, a lot of things were influenced by John Carter, Princess of Mars stuff.
This is my favorite part of the series. The guys, I don't remember the exact name, but they were freaking awesome.
Getting carbon frozen there, and
God, I wish I could read those comics. That looks awesome.
I hear there is a promotion on the BitTorrent. Supposedly they are for free.
Showing all this stuff is. But you know what? All I can say is I don't know if I would like to see a lot of this dot, but in fact I'm done before I get a copyright strike or something. But, people are influenced all over the place. As you work on music like I do, I like to write music. A Britisher, I'm finding out, is pretty talented with lyrics. And for me, the best kind of muse that I could have besides a ripe plum would be something like somebody to give me lyrics. That and a ripe plum would make me tune out on who knows what every day because I love music. But that said, everything I do has been influenced by what I've heard. Let me show you something real quickly. And now I'm not gonna try to show off, play a song. I just want to show you something like this right here. I can't make a song with that in it because that is Bedroom Thing by ZZ Top. And I always get them confused, even though I've been doing music for years. There's melody and harmony. I think that's, what is that, Britisher, where it's the actual part? It's either it's melody. Okay, harmony is a chord progression like this. There are hundreds of songs that go D, A, C, G, and then
there's always so many chords, man.
Right, you cannot copyright a chord progression. And there's a reason for that. That's what I'm saying. I'm tying it into this way. There are some ideas so huge. Do you think that the person that wrote this is the first one that came up with freezing somebody and whatever and having the slave outfit and all of it? I doubt it. So if you want to go to it, man, all music comes from blues. All American music comes from blues. And I guess Star Wars come from this comic. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
But as I said in the side chat, Valerian the original series of Valerian has been escalated to public domain because they planned to reboot it completely, and therefore they decided, you know what, the old series date from the 70s and 80s, let's make it public domain. So now you can. It's legal to download scans of the original series. It's completely legal.
That's freaking awesome.
That's good.
Really.
Yeah. And all this because Zero Cool and I started talking about Dungeons and Dragons about 2 hours ago. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit more because Day and Britt is here. I mean, man, and I like the rest of y'all, but man, you know, I've got some folks that if they show up, I probably should hang out for a minute. What in the world did you come by for, you two? Don't you have better shit to do? I was taking the day off. I was supposed to be able to play videos right now, but Butter's a very busy guy, so he came over and he was like, "Oh, it works now, boss," and left. And by the time he left, I was like, okay, I'll try it today.
Well, I came on because I had already done my makeup for today. I went to a doctor's appointment, and I have to stream later. I'm going to be on Political Monkeys channel. I don't know if you heard of him. He's really cool. He's really cool, and I'm going to be on there with Drunken Uncle. I think he's coming in.
He's really cool.
Oh, yeah, I love Drunkle. He's great. And so I'm going to be doing that at 9 Eastern Standard Time. But I had some time to kill. So I thought I'd come on because I like live streaming with you all.
I don't speak French, so I hope the Britisher didn't just slip me a Mickey. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So if this Day can you put it in the side chat so that I can put it in the
okay.
I'm seeing. Either do either one you want. Put it in the room or put it in the side chat.
Well, in both.
There you go. Because I watch it tonight. I don't have much to do. I'm sorry. What is that? What does that even say?
What does it mean?
Know what it says.
So basically, the on the top it says the gendarmes, so a form of policemen that are also military personnel that exist in France. They're basically coming from the Marine Corps of France, but they are policemen basically. They're policemen of the countryside. So the gendarmes in Paradise. So the big guy is actually calling Louis de Funès' character Cruchot, which is basically his name. So, hey Cruchot, and he says, shh, 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 seriously, hush, hush, boss, because it's full of nudists over here. It's full of nudists, so we're gonna basically find every single one of them. Hush, just shit.
Huh. I knew it. I'd say I don't get it.
There's another link further up.
That's funny? I mean, it is funny probably, but there might be some.
Well, we got to see the preceding one. Yeah. We need to see the first one first.
Oh, I sense I did it wrong, Brett.
No. You need to see it. You need to know it in the context of actually having.
And I'll say something else. I mean, I knew what a gendarme was from the Count of Monte Cristo, but
yeah,
I just don't get it. So in other words, he's saying he's fine. He acts like he's one thing, but he is another. Is that the point of it?
No, basically the idea is that the big guy just doesn't give a rat's ass about
the gendarme.
Yeah, the gendarme, the two gendarmes. The big guy who is the boss of the gendarmes. The big guy doesn't give a shit about nudists, and the character that Louis de Funès is actually playing is a staunch conservative guy who doesn't understand nudist people. And he's like, "Hush, we're gonna verbalize every single one of them. We're gonna find every single one of them."
You know how I feel about nudity? It's sexist. In fact, we were talking about The Watchmen, and that's one of the only movies where there's a dude that's like full frontal nudity for at least 15 minutes through the movie. He's just there with his dang-a-wanging. And so what, man? It's like the male genitalia is stigmatized. And I'm not going to start whipping my love stick out and shaking it around right now. Sorry, ladies. But the fact of the matter is, I do feel a certain way. It's like since I was a kid, it's like I said it to somebody I know today. It's spring. And I was like, mentioned something about girls flashing dudes. Okay. I was like, in fact, I encouraged this young girl and she showed her boobies to some construction workers. Okay. And I was like, ha, that was really funny, and they were all, of course, loving it. And then I was like, the funny thing is, if it was some chicks there and I was like, hey, ladies, and just was like, whipped up, they would call the police. They'd write down my license plate number and they'd be like, some pervert just whipped out his stuff. And I don't know. I do feel like
there's a double standard.
It's not that way in France, is it, dude? If some chicks are cheering you on to whip your dongus out, you can just do it, right? Nobody's going to come take you to jail for it.
As long as there is no third person complaining about it, nope.
All right. Well, and see, that could be the problem, but I have a feeling that, anyway, it does come from that because, hey, if people want to get naked on the beach, I'm not even going to say, because then I would get killed if Amanda was here, I have a feeling. But people would say, well, the children, listen, if the children come up and they see it's the beach now, it's not Walmart, and there's some folks laying out in the sun and, going and jumping in the ocean, in their swimsuit, and that's it. I mean, then why would you want to restrict it? Because if you restrict it and it's something they got to go look, they're looking now, they're doing like a Sydney rough diamond, Britt, and they're looking through the knothole. Why not just let them go in the other yard and be like, okay, these people are naked, so what? In fact, there's a lot of places like, and this is why I'm saying it, don't call me a pervert, because if you go up into the Arctic Circle there with the Scandinavians, they stripped out butt naked and getting their salmons, drink lapping daws with children. They're just hanging out there. Wangs, titties, the old grandma with young, buxom girl, everybody. But it's not like it would be here where it's like, ooh, titties, or penis. None of that, because it's fuck. I mean, you've seen it before. The only time it would be arousing.
Cultural difference.
Yeah, I talked long enough about that because now I feel like I'm defending myself, and I don't want to contest too much.
But I'm gonna found a clip that seems to explain the Louis de Funès thing. The latest link I put up there.
Britisher, he wants to talk about naked people. I'm down with that. It's these Brits. It's like Benny Hill.
I'm gonna explain this particular thing. Okay, the film actually contributed to change. To change some laws regarding firefighters, policemen, and doctors, and saying, no, I'm sorry, your jobs are to see naked ass people that are hurt, or like you're gonna see some nudity in your job, so you don't get to be the one initiating the complaint. Unless someone complains about the nudity, you don't arrest somebody because he whipped out his dick on the beach side. That's all it comes down to.
So basically, the front picture, that is that is the unfortunate policeman who has been selected to be the one who has to infiltrate the nudists. So he is basically walking onto the beach.
Oh, mercy sake, British! What'd you send me? Hang on a second. Holy shit!
Yeah, I don't know if we can show it.
I must say that we don't condone nudity on this channel, or do we want to show it intentionally?
We might get
I just
flagged,
pushed play on that. What did you say? Let's not talk about it anymore, because that was no big deal. But I did.
No, nothing was shown. But
it is pretty much mainstream television on the European continent.
Okay, because if that was the worst, I'm watching it now. Okay, if that was the worst,
you will see the odd buttock and perhaps the odd side boob, but as such,
that's not illegal.
When you see the police coming on, I mean, you cannot help but snigger when you see them.
Although later on, though, I'm looking now, there's some girls. She has tiny, tiny little boobies, but they're just flying out there. It's not side boob. It's like pure on nipple. Looks like she could dial a phone with it. Yeah, I'm not going to show that, but thank you very much for that.
Just link it in the not.
I thought I was the one that was supposed to sabotage my channel, man. You come on with this nudity stuff. Thank you, sir.
Well, no, I mean, Louis de Funès is really very mainstream comedy in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, basically this guy is known all across Europe because he's been a big star in France. Like any film that he was in, you wanted a French comedy in the 60s and 70s, you wanted a French comedy and you wanted to be sure 100% that you didn't tank, create a role in your script for Louis de Funès. And basically you were sure to make a big buck, like really fucking quick.
Yeah, and I mean,
actually in this one I can see cojones.
He is very much seen as family entertainment.
Dave, I almost want to show this one. It's all bums, so I'm going to do it very, very quickly. Dave, this is for you because the guys saw some chicks earlier. Boom. Hello, ladies. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
And as you can see, that is the policeman barring the way.
Yeah, it's funny.
So they're literally chasing these nude people around the beach, and wherever the nude guys run, there is another policeman
there.
peeping out
looks like another nice scene from Benny Hill show.
It's totally Benny Hill, it really is. And now at the end, they've got to marching them off with blankets. I can show this for sure. I'm not going to continue it. I'm actually stopping it because I haven't seen the whole thing. And butts are, for some weird reason, butts are okay, but now they're all, and look, there's like an old man here and an older lady. It's not just kids' day. It's like, young people.
You only need to look at the expression on Louis de Funès' face there to kind of see that he is the little Napoleon of Saint-Tropez.
Yeah, he's very happy, obviously. In fact, here you go. Here's a good shot of what did you say that French name was again? I can't keep that shit in my head. What's his name, Brett?
Louis de Funès.
Louis de Funès. So
Well
it's always somebody of such and so with the French. It's like Louis.
As you
of
can
Funès.
see, he is of rather short stature. When
Yeah,
you
I was going to
compare
say,
him
it looks
to
like a
Peter.
5 feet of pride and arrogance, that one.
Yeah.
Precisely. That is exactly what he is. Yes,
And actually, he was the nicest guy ever in real life. But because he was the nicest guy ever in real life, like he said, why do you keep? Basically, the interviewers back then were saying, why do you keep playing villains in all of your films? Why do you keep playing the nasty motherfucker, the hateable guy, the non-relatable guy? And men said, because I am tired being nice in my real life.
That's fair.
I get that. I definitely get
he
that.
just basically discovered a perfect idiot to play. And that was this policeman in Saint-Tropez, and it really was something special. You see it once and you don't forget it.
They made 7 of those. The gendarmes. They made 7 of those in total.
No doubt they will have got progressively worse.
Yeah, and actually, not long ago they tried to reboot the franchise. Do you know what French people said?
No, thank you.
With Louis de Funès being dead, don't you dare.
Yeah. I mean, it was very much his vehicle. Without him, one wouldn't really see the point.
Yeah, like basically people were like, "Oh, if you no, oh fucking no, you don't." Like,
so this is now very American here. You see, so basically, at one moment we've just heard a complaint about nude French people, and then we see an American actress with a costume that is effectively poured on.
Well, it's okay if there's
it's
like
more
a provocative.
Britisher. That's kind of why I popped that up, because that was considered less than PG. That would be considered guidance. But isn't it more sexual and suggestive because she's not totally naked? I mean, look, that actually holds everything, her buttocks and her breasts, in a way that is
more provocative.
Thank you.
That way.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the difference of
anyway.
somebody lounging naked on the beach and somebody being in spandex saying, "Come spank me." It's
I don't think either one's bad. Praise God for both.
oh yeah.
I've been on, man. Look, I've been growing up and been split down. My family, some of my family's in Florida and Orlando. It's been on beaches a long time, man. And if you go down New Smyrna and in between New Smyrna at like the Ponce Inlet, or if you go down and you surf down by Pope Air Force Base, there's dudes and chicks changing out of their shorts and into their wetsuits all the time. If there was a cop up there, and there's nothing sexual, if you were like staring at some chick or trying to be a perv, some of us other surfer boys are going to probably jog over there, or some of the surfer girls, God help you if they do, we're going to jog over there and work you over. So it's not like that, but come on, man. There's this time and a place for everything, is all I'm saying. And that suit is more provocative than nudity to me, because that girl, oh man, what a peach. What a peach.
Oh yeah.
Gracious mercy's sake. And even sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say the west coast of Canada, BC, is much the same way. In fact, if you need to run away from the States to find a decent nude beach that's not full of just creepy folk, the Gulf Islands are fucking great for it.
And it works both ways, as you can see here, starkly. I mean, I'm having a brain fart now for real, because I was joking before, I guess, but Owl Man here, Night Owl, or whatever, whatever his name is. He actually looks... Owl Man, he looks way better in this than he does without his suit on too. I mean, and what's wrong with that? What's wrong with a pinup girl once in a while? That's not real. That's a picture. But God knows, I wish she was real. Anyway, I don't know. It's all about I guess proper age and what you're thinking about. Because here's my experience with life. Before I knew birds and the bees, so to say, I still was attracted to women. Heterosexual, I guess that when I was that age, it was asexual, but I didn't know, to put it in the vernacular, what to do with it anyway. So, by the time I knew what to do with it, it was all groovy, but I even liked pretty girls when I was 6, is what I'm saying. It didn't matter to me. It was like, oh, look at that.
I think
that lady could have a baby.
Even before 6, I do puppet shows and performances with kids as young as 3. Some even earlier than that. As soon as they see a pretty lady, it doesn't matter if they're only a year old, they're going, ooh.
Yep. And here's another good shot. I think that is a Brett to send that. We got some good comedy stuff here. This is so nice. I didn't mean to even go this long, but I did sound check, and then I try to be serious a lot. I actually started this thing to amuse myself.
In the Gendarme of Saint-Tropez, where he needs a lift. I don't know if his car has broken down or something, but he's stuck somewhere. He needs a lift, and he needs to get.
No, he doesn't have his driver license yet because it didn't arrive in Saint-Tropez. Because remember, the character Louis de Funès is coming from Paris, and he has been parachuted to Saint-Tropez. So he needs all of his papers to be renewed, and he doesn't have his driver's license yet. So he needs a lift. And he basically cross paths with all kinds of youngsters, just chilling, and they are in big cars, big muscle cars, American ones, like just chilling and driving very carefully, very slow. Then this chick comes up, who is a nun. He hop with the nun, thinking to himself, she will be a more careful driver, and she's the most reckless.
She's in a 2CV, a Durchvaux.
Yeah, the 2CV.
Which is just about one of the most pedestrian cars you can find.
Yeah.
So apparently
the car at speed would take corners very well, but it would sway to the side very much, so you would be feeling as you were about to fall over or something.
Well, this car does a lot of swaying. I mean, it's just basically a nightmare ride. It's like a roller coaster ride that he's on.
Yeah.
And this woman is just laughing like absolutely like a devil possessed while she's driving.
Maniac. While she's driving, complete maniac, and she's driving like a stuntsman. She's driving like a boss. Like she doesn't hit anything, but by the time the ride is ended, the guy is just peed himself.
Well, actually, the French film industry is actually very well known for its sort of car stunt work, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of sort of action movies
because we have laws protecting stuntsmen so hard that actually a lot of Hollywood car stuntsmen come over here in France to get formed safely.
It was 75 degrees an hour ago, and right now it's about 52. Beat that, England.
But yes, there are some stunts.
Not even joking. It was 75 and sunny, and right now it's cloudy and 52, and it's starting to sprinkle. It went from a nice spring day to seeming like hell. If you were like stuck out, people up here, about 4 times a year, people go kayaking on the Great Lakes. I spit out a little chip there because what they do is they're morons. They're city dwellers, and they get on a sea kayak, and they go out into the Great Lakes. They lose sight of land. They get tipped over by a big wave. They can't untip over, and in July, 85-degree weather, they freeze to death in the 58-degree water that they can't get this far out of. And that happens about at least 3 times a year. It's usually about 12 times a year. And then, you know what I think? It's like Darwin Award. You got it, buddy. Good luck.
I only fell out of a kayak once.
Also, what happens to people is they leave they don't know Michigan, so they go up to like the UP, whatever, and they're going to go hiking with Nana. They got their wife of 40 years, and they're going to go hiking. So they get their stuff together and have a day pack, and they walk, a good day's trip. They're ready for what weather they took off in, and it goes, like I said, from 75. Because believe it or not, folks, you can freeze, you can die of exposure in 50-degree weather easily if it's drizzling. And most people think, oh, it's got to be frozen and so cold. No, it's got to be below body temperature and no way for you to warm up. That means first you start shivering, and then it feels hot, and then you get comfortable, and then it's like, oh, this isn't so bad, and then you're a lollipop. Anyway. So there you go. I just wanted to mention that because I know the Brisher lives in England and people live all over, but Michigan, what they say is if you don't like the weather, give it an hour or 2.
That's what they say over in New England too.
Oh yeah,
I guess it's also special.
No, same word, because if you're Mass or Maine and New Hampshire, same thing. Upstate New York, same thing. Anyway.
All right, you guys, I'm gonna have to take off because I'm getting a little sleepy. And I have to be streaming in this fucking chair again later, so I'm gonna sit on my shitty couch.
You look great, sweetie. You look wonderful. You're gonna do great.
I already got my trolling out of the way, so take care of yourself, Tell. Then.
Right. See y'all later. Bye.
See y'all later, Day.
I'm ditching too, man. I feel like the Brisher's here because of me. I'm eating chips, and I'm about ready to make my tea.
Oh, I forgot to tell Day. Yes, I'm done with eating my cereal now.
Too little, too late.
Anyway.
Long silent.
Jeremy, you're linking us to some article. Care to give us an overview?
Well, it's talking about the one candidate I voted for, so the ultra left-wing guy, and you motherfucker. Just basically, he didn't say to anyone to vote for anything, to vote for either of the candidates, and he was calling people to not vote, to not show up at the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one thing which I can get behind. The other thing is that at the end of the article, basically they're talking about the bullshit drama between Mélenchon, so the guy I voted for, and the drama between him and Le Pen, basically. The judicial drama that was between them. And the guy renewed his, like, when you get attacked by the person for calling her a fascist, judicially speaking, you don't get at the end of the first round to basically renew your attacks, basically. So to renew your attacks when you're being sued for this, even if Marine Le Pen lost this, you don't fuck her, motherfucker. Just please, Jean-Luc, don't be that asshole. Please, we need more than that. We need better than this. I'm just disappointed at my candidate. I'm sorry. It's just me being disappointed. Like, dude,
yeah, you always are too. I'm disappointed in my candidate. I can't say much, but somebody I know is doing a little roundup of the first 100 days through a dry eye, and from someone that's not even American, of Trump's candidacy. And man, I don't know. I'll tell you what. The way I feel is, as soon as a politician, whether they was a dog catcher or whatever they was or are, the day before they put their hand on the Bible and said they swore to be a politician, they were probably okay people. But as soon as they do that, they're dog shit. I mean, every last one of them, man. Even Ronald Reagan was good. And I remember I was very young, and I remember the Libya thing when they had our people and he bombed the shit out of Muammar Gaddafi's castle. He didn't kill him, though, like that bitch did. But anyway, Reagan was great. But now that I'm older and can look back and see what he said and what he did, he was about 20 notches above Trump at this point. But Trump, man, he sold me on the Reagan thing and the whole Make America Great. And at this point, I'm disgruntled. I voted for him, so I can say that. At this point, he works for me. I actually put him in office. My vote here in Michigan was a big deal.
I tell him off on Twitter all the time.
Yeah, I'm sick of it, man. I don't say much. I don't even retweet his shit no more, Zero.
Well, when I read stuff like Ivanka wants to talk about, letting Syrians in, and I just go right to Twitter and say, sir, I voted you in. I can vote you out. You work for me. Tell your wife or daughter to keep their mouths shut.
I have to say this. It would have to be somebody that I've never heard of right now to take his place, because even though I feel that way, he is better than any president we've had since, I'm going to say, Reagan. And if you don't like that, I would say since JFK. But
no, easily.
Yeah, I think since Reagan.
People are just so pissed off they're not getting their legacies in there.
I feel like the Godfather. Just when I thought I was out, you pulled me into the political thing. Nah, but wait, I mean, and why would you feel that way, Zero? I mean, you're about my age, I think.
Hmm.
I won't let him talk, Zero. I mean, you're about my age, I think. So when you say that about,
I hit the wrong button. I love this headset, but I hate it. I'm only 1 year younger than you. No, I have this little button that if it gets pressed, everything goes silent on my end by accident. Everybody's just so pissed off about their legacies not getting in, and that's just too goddamn bad. Yeah. Now, my parents always voted Democrat, and I just look at them thinking, how many drugs have you been, were you taking during Woodstock? And they hated, but they hated Woodstock. Dad was born in 41, Mom was born in 43, so they weren't fucking flower children. They fucking hated Woodstock. Dad was, and all that shit. In fact, they hated Woodstock very much, and they said they voted for JFK and they voted for all this other stuff. They hated fucking Lyndon B. Johnson. They weren't particularly fans of Reagan, but they were basically telling me when Obama was in office, like, yeah, we didn't vote this year. And I'm like, why not? Well, our candidate's an idiot. And I said, so vote for the other candidate. well, he's just as big as an idiot as well. And I said, is it the fact that you think that they're idiots, or the fact that they don't represent what you want as an American citizen, or the fact that you just don't like them as people?
Carter was bad, though, man. He was probably the worst president in the last 100 years.
No, up until
I'm sorry, he's still alive. I mean that with all due respect, Mr. Carter. You'll never see this, but I do respect Mr. Carter. He was the president, but dag nabbit, he sucked.
Well, here's the thing. Here's getting to the point is, Dad didn't vote either time Obama was in office. So I said, look, I really don't want to hear it because you didn't vote. You don't have a voice. Well, yeah, I do. It's like, oh, no, you really don't. And I had to argue with him.
I've done at least 2 videos on almost that entire point. When Scott Pressler did something where, I'll tell you, I watched Scott, and when he has something going on, whether he asked me to or not, I will do a short little video reiterating what he says and then playing his little, because his things are like a minute long, usually maybe 2 minutes. And I'll be honest, I'm not towing the party line like that, gentlemen. I disagree with him on some things, but he is so close to my heart. He El hombre está cerca de mi corazón. That's just for Nacho Free. That means, he's close to my heart. So I'm not going to come out and try to bash anything. And that's the only thing I know how to do. So my mom always said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That said, I love the Republican line, but man, we eventually have to either grow out of the political thing. In other words, no more government, or we have to have people step forward that aren't these career politicians, statesmen that go like Jesse Ventura. Like Trump could be, if he so tried and applied himself, he could go be president for 8 years and then go retire and die an old man happy in his wealth. But he'd have to choose to do that. So
my 2 points that I was trying to make is that my parents, who are, and no, that's fine. And what, because you did ask me, and what I was trying to get to was, I understand why a lot of people think that Trump is probably the better president since Reagan, and especially in regards to Carter. My dad said Carter may have sucked as a president, but he at least was a likable person that you didn't want to throw under a bus. And I agree with my dad saying, and he said he didn't like Reagan as a person, but at least Reagan was there to try to do the job of what he could do with what he had been dealt with when he became president both times, or was elected president both times. And he said since then, and I agree with my dad on this, we've just been surrounded by asshats. Self-serving, little-dicked, small-boobed, unintellectual, jack-hatted morons. And I don't give a shit that Barack Obama has a goddamn law degree. I could kick his ass in 5 minutes in both the court of law and in a ring. So fuck him. And that's just my 2 cents.
Zero, cool. You can see the side chat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious. If you care to do, if something comes up and you like,
I actually thought she wanted to come in and talk in the chat. Why?
Somebody just showed up. Oh no, that's okay. Well, that's fine. I'll shoot the link out one more time because if I'm here, I'm waiting for the Britisher. He hasn't said much. He's probably working again, but I just feel like when he shows up, I feel like if I quit before that son of a bitch, corned beef, he's like corned beef over there. Like really,
am I the person who's keeping you?
No, you're not keeping me. But I think about you and Sargon, man. I actually, when I left to do my rounds today, I started that thing to console my Lily dog because she can hear me talking and stuff on that. So I just put on Sargon's, and plus, whatever, it was playing. Yeah. So when I got back, it was
when you got back, we were still talking about Syria,
and it was 5 in the no. And you know what? There's a couple things, man. Dave even mentioned it. The reason Day first sprung up, and then I pounded on the North Korea thing, people don't realize how sometimes, and I don't mean you, doppelganger, in case you hear this thing, I'm talking about you, but some people that aren't in our circle, let me put it that way, don't realize how tough it is to try to, listen to what people in the chat are saying. There was 500 people watching us at one time that night, Brett, at one single moment in time, and that lasted for about 3 hours. It was teetering between 480 and 500 people.
Yeah.
And then we got all those comments. If I had to do it over again, what I would have changed is I would have spoken as much as I did because I didn't really say much that night. I was really trying hard to just stay muted and listen, be a good host. But I would have let you two talk about Syria because we had a request and I watched the whole Syria thing, both parts that he did. And man, he could have had, and yeah, some people, again, this is what I heard a lot of, brother. was, oh, but it's so boring, you fuckers. Why don't you talk about vaginas and dicks and sucking penis and whatnot? Like, I mean, if you looked at my chat, because Sargon's great and all, but some of the people that follow him, they're just fucking young kids that like to talk about farts and penis and whatever. But anyway, if I had to do it over again, I would let y'all talk about Syria until you two were done talking about Syria, and any of us astute panel members had something to interject, we could have, and if we didn't, we could have shut up about it. But that said, I mean, he was there for 5 hours, so I think we did something right. Wouldn't you say, man?
You must have done something right if he stayed for 5 hours.
Not you, and I said it right. I said we must have, because we were all working, and it worked out well.
No, so it was good to know that he was well entertained, and his exit, I think, was of historic proportions.
Now, did you look? Because I did very narcissistically for any live stream that went that long with that gentleman on it, and I could not find it.
No, I haven't been looking, but I very much doubt there will be too many where he's on for 5 odd hours.
I couldn't find one, and I guess I could say that nobody else was fanboys enough to hang in there that long with him as we were, but I guess I couldn't find one. But he was a merry old chap. Dankula, I tell you. I do want to talk about that one thing, but I'm going to restrain myself. But I want to work on, both parts of it. And I'd say Dank, and I believe that if he wouldn't have came in that night, it probably would have ended almost when he came in. I think it was about to be wrapped up.
We were sort of drying up a bit at that point, and then he kind of came in and revived us all.
Yeah, Sargon was done too. You could tell he was at the end of it. He didn't have much else to say about anything that we had or he had. And then Dank, I don't know. When I think of him, I guess I have such a soft spot because he's a crusader to me. You know what I mean? He's a freedom rider. He's
a very involuntary crusader, isn't he? That's in a way.
Look how he's handling it.
But that's what makes the charm, because crusaders, people who crusade, tend to be too strident. They tend to be too insistent on their particular idea. But the fact that Dankula isn't really a voluntary crusader, he's been made one very much against his will. That's what makes him a crusader, but actually a likable one.
He's handling it very well. That's for sure.
Then the fact that he's going about and being a crusader and a champion in this rather than a martyr, and that I'm really proud of for him. It's been fantastic to watch him pushing through this the way he is.
Yeah, with a real stiff upper lip. I mean, I've been through some court things here and there. Not all of them were criminal, but when I was young, I was pretty wild. I had to go and stand tall before the man for some moronic thing I did. None of them were very serious, but I don't care what you've done. If you got to go in front of a guy in a black robe or a girl in a black robe, I mean, the whole fucking ordeal, man. But now what he's facing, I've never faced anything like that. And I don't mean that I'm not trying to compare what I did with him, because actually I did much worse in my mind. But because it was worth being charged for.
A wrong joke.
Yeah, I can't think of it. I will not, and I see that's prodding, Brett, but I won't say what I did.
No, it wasn't prodding. It was more, pointing to the fact that is what he is charged with, effectively.
It's insane.
Having done the wrong joke. Yes.
So I coupled that with the way I couldn't sleep the night before. I couldn't eat for 2 weeks very well, sir. I lost probably 10 pounds over 2 weeks, and I was healthy then. I mean, I didn't anyway. And so, and I look at him, he looks like he's gained 5 pounds. He's fat of flesh, and his cheeks are bright.
If you remember the first time we had him on, I asked him whether he thought that the fact that they were constantly delaying the case was the fact that they were trying to get him to crack. Because that seems to be a tactic which they sometimes use over here.
To get him to really popular one in Canada.
They will deliberately stretch it out, and then eventually, when the court case happens, sometimes they won't even present any evidence. They will just say, "Oh, we haven't anything to present, Your Honor."
Or the guy, because they're trying to make Dank just plead guilty, is what you're saying. They do that here too.
Yes.
Just like Canada, America does it too. They'll keep drawing it out. So you're either, what they like to do in America is they like to have you in jail, and if you can't pay the $100,000 bond, which would be 10%, 10 grand. Most people don't have that or anything worth that to put up. So if you don't have that, you're sitting in jail, and they keep drawing it out. Now it's 3 months, and you're looking at something that if you pled not guilty, no jury would convict you of it. But you want to go home to see your family.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck anymore. You know, they're going to take your right to bear arms. They're going to take your rights of a lot of things, to vote in some cases. And you know you'd beat it. Your lawyer's telling you you'd beat it. The prosecutor is telling your lawyer you'd beat it. But you just want to go home. And so I can rail on that all day. So whatever y'all got, I'm telling you, man, the prison industrial complex is the most horrific thing that's ever been visited
one of the things that I think, you know, if you go back in history and the sort of the people that wrote the Magna Carta or you know, those terrible rebels whom you call the founding fathers, those kind of people, if they would have their chance today, one of the things that they would introduce would be a kind of system of censure or punishment for the prosecution. That basically there must be some way of getting back at those people if they accuse you wrongly, if they deliberately stretch it out, just trying to get you to plead guilty. Because if they're trying to just stretch it out in order to get you to plead guilty, and then they go to court and present no case, then frankly they're clearly guilty of wrongdoing, and there should be some protection toward the citizen from that sort of abuse.
This is a very fine idea, but it would come with its own downside and moral hazards. For example, as far as I understand, in the United States, the prosecutors are pretty much incentivized to only bring the good cases to the court and not drag their heels on bad cases, by being electable and or whatever, and basically trying to make a political career, so they only go for good cases. However, that means that what was the point? Damn it, I lost it. That means that when they think they have a good case, they really throw the book at you, whereas when they think they have a weak case, they simply drop the case. And even some people that should go
in some cases, I don't think it's necessarily about have we got a good case. I think there's a difference between have we got a good case and can we win the case.
Yes, I get your point. In any case, I stand with you. It just needs to be very delicately done, as not to cause more problems that we are trying to avoid.
Yes, yeah, no, I can see the problems that you kind of allude to by saying, look, if we threaten the prosecution with punishment for doing their job, then all we will do is prevent them from doing their job.
Yeah, that's an easy fix, though.
Especially political meddling could be very bad around that.
No, I understand that aspect of it, but generally, I would say there has to be something to curtail the obvious abuses that are taking place, particularly in this country, where sometimes you just do feel that the prosecution are deliberately playing games, just trying to grind someone down, when in fact they know themselves that they don't have a case.
Can I ask a side questions to every member of the English-speaking world that lives in that type of system? What is the rationale behind electing a judge, having to campaign, politically speaking?
Well, I mean, here in England, in Britain, we don't do that. But I think the rationale is basically for the judge to have to be accountable. Because I think that is one of the main worries in most sort of democratic systems, to have institutions where people act and don't have to be accountable for their actions.
Yeah, but it politicizes the judge, so yes, how can he be fair?
Yes, I totally agree with you on that.
That's the. Oh, by the way, you can be nominated as a judge in France as early as in being in your 35.
Yeah.
For those of you who do not know, like we have had a case publicly where a lot of Americans asked me, like, how come this very young guy can be a judge? And I was like, well, judges are nominated in France. And
who nominates?
They're elected here mostly, but sometimes they're appointed by people that were elected. So we steal something from the British by that, because their prime ministers appointed by people that they elect. But most of our judges, like the judge here in this county, and the circuit judge that rides through about 3 or I think 4 counties, I elect him. And if I don't like him, I can unelect him. But then federal judges are usually appointed.
But the obvious problem you get with the appointed judge, with the politically appointed judges and with the elected judges, is that you will have conservative judges in conservative areas, liberal judges in liberal areas, and then you get the situation where basically you have got courts just sabotaging something that Trump is quite in his right to do, simply because they are effectively his political enemies.
Like there are actually two sides to
like what do you mean?
The immigration ban that Trump wanted to, the temporary immigration ban that Trump wanted to introduce.
So, because I hear a lot
within his right to do that.
A ban against what immigration from where?
Those is it 6 Muslim countries?
Oh, you mean the travel vetting that goes on for 90 days, like he said he would do before he was elected. That's one of the things in his good box for me.
Well, yeah, as I say, it is something. He wants to introduce a ban until vetting procedures.
You brought up the idea of this thing. Look, I read on air. I haven't even looked at it since. But Kellyanne Conway released this thing that if we don't get this in by Friday, and we're not even putting it in, so there'll be no funding. And if I recall, he didn't say he wanted funding.
The courts
said he would get it paid for, and it would be happening. Period.
Yes, but
and now they're saying they ain't going to try to get
which have shot this down. These seem to be liberal courts in liberal areas.
Build a thing, man. It's a border. Do whatever you want.
If you have effectively,
well, then fine.
If you have a situation of political appointments or elected judges, then you end up with basically democratic.
You know what he could easily do? He could close down 17 bases worldwide, bring those equipment and people back, and put them along the Mexican and Canadian border at probably the span of about shoulder's width at that rate, and tell them, hey, listen, if you want to come through, that's fine, but you got to go through these folks, and you should have papers, please, because you're not an American citizen. And then once you were in this country, I would like if the papers, please, stopped, Britisher, because there's places in this country where you can just be driving and they stop you and say, are you hauling? And I don't care if you're driving a car. When you're going across, man, listen, the United States isn't free because it's easy to get in here. And because of that, they say, well, we got to check to see who you are. Check to see who they are on the border. Close down some bases, bring people back. You don't even need a wall. Make a wall of people with tanks, and there you go.
There is another interesting problem that MC alluded to recently regarding judges. Basically, conservative judges would mostly be constitutional.
The law's already there.
Basically, they would not kind of try to be activists.
Look, there's no reason to argue or to talk about or to litigate the idea.
Trying to be activists, and they are creating precedents which they end up being bounding for all the judges in the country. So basically, one side has all the power by creating precedents, while the other side simply follows the law without creating precedent, and that's not having power.
Sanctuary cities. Look, this is the fact. As long as it's illegal to just cruise in here, and if it's no longer illegal because it's a world thing, well then, Britisher, I would like to be able to just randomly go to England and say I'm a Britisher as long as I feel like it, no matter my station or whatever. As long as I can swim there. I want to come and chill and get whatever benefits it is from being a Britisher, whatever that may be. And that goes for you, doppelganger. I want to be able to go to your world in some other universe and chill on your fucking whatever you got up there, eating whatever weird foods you have in that dimension. And see what I mean? So if people can do that here, or it's the law, and you can't litigate that. It's illegal to come to this country and not be a citizen, and then to talk about La Raza and whatever, Islam or whatever, I don't care what you are, and that's now something so supersedes. No, it doesn't. It don't. No way. Bay Stickman coming to see you.
By the way, I wanted to ask actually something that has been asked on the chat earlier on. Perennial Plant Yaman is asking, maybe even challenging Britisher, why does your country still have an unwritten constitution? Seems risky to me and dangerous to liberty. Britisher, if you would please.
It is. I would love to have a written constitution. It is basically the fact that Britain has always kind of muddled through, and it prides itself. Well, the political class prides itself on basically functioning without a constitution, thereby being free to respond to any problem without being bound by a constitution. But as such, yes, I wholeheartedly agree we should have a constitution, Because if we had a constitution, we would have protections of free speech and such like.
Okay, so next question to that would be, what would be downsides, if any, to having a written constitution? Indeed,
to be too heavily codified like ours in France.
Yeah,
Well,
and
you
also
also
they
get-
end up very much sort of in the realms of, you know, the courts interpreting what the Constitution
There you
says.
go. That's what I was gonna say, because you got endless litigation, man. Like you know. So we were just saying it's illegal to be not to be a citizen here and to come across and let alone what happens is people that are illegal in this country saying, "I got rights." No, as soon as you say I got rights, now we know who you are. You don't belong here. We take you go away. You don't have rights.
You have the right to go back
You have
home.
the right to leave to go back home. Because listen, I believe you said you're from Canada. I can't go to Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Rocks. Canada rocks. I would love to be able to go to Regina right now and be like, I'm fucking Regina, dog. I fucking live here, homies. What up, eh? I learned hockey. I watch that shit. And but they'd throw me out. They'd be like, "You're not Canadian, eh?" In fact, man, shoot, they're pretty strict about it. If you've had a DUI, you can't just go.
Our immigration laws and our visitation laws are really, really strict. But on the side of the constitutional side, another downside of having a constitution is the government having the power to massively limit it and alter it against the will of the people at a later date, and that's a problem we're having in Canada right now. So I mean, another plus side to Britain being a little bit flimsy about how they're doing things is, if it's flimsy, that means no one can lock you in a dangerous contract.
Well, yeah. One thing I wanted to ask is when you said they would throw you out in Canada, would they throw you out or would they throw you out?
It depends on how far east you are.
I thought it was going to be a serious question, but they throw you out. They'd say, "What you doing here, eh?" They ask you the number of that pizza place, Canada, dude. Don't they? What's the pizza place that you should know the number to? It's got a famous jingle.
Little Caesars?
No, I can't remember. It's Canadian only. They don't have it in the United States. I seen it on, I think it was Undercover Boss, so it may be spurious, the information. But the mounted police around Toronto, that's what they're saying, because they can get people.
So yeah, it's a Toronto one then. Yeah, they're really strict with that shit out there. It's hilarious.
Toronto, eh?
Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, in Toronto, they ain't got no guns, but if you get stupid, they'll beat your ass, eh? And then if the cops come up there and you've been beat up, they'll beat you up too and put you on the bus home.
Speaking of Canada, speaking of Canada and law,
tough fuckers up there.
speaking of Canada and law, to our fellow Canadian, have you seen the movie Bon Cop, Bad Cop?
I haven't, and I feel so guilty for it.
It's so hilarious. This film is so hilarious. Just
there's no cool way to say like Brexit. There's no cool way to say it for America. I was gonna try to be like Brexit, but I'm not Brexit. I couldn't do it. Now I'm leaving, y'all. This has been a lot of fun, British. I ain't gonna outlast you this time. I was just looking unwittingly to me. In fact, what I'll do is so that y'all can say goodbye in your own way and the people can dribble out. Because I see there's people watching. But look,
so
man,
you need to say I'll have to head back to editing Trump.
I got a life. Yeah, man. I got a life. I got shit to do. I don't want to do it either. I would rather stay here and have a beer with you folks, believe me.
See you around in the space live stream of Ogre, where people coming from space France, space UK, space Canada come and chill out and have a calm conversation, love each other.
Hey, do I know you on Twitter or something, Jeremy? No, I don't always twit the thing. I don't always do that in the main thing like that. If you ever want to come on when it's just a low key thing and it's not, everybody and their cousin coming on, give me your something, whatever it may be that you feel comfortable giving. Twit. I don't do Facebook. I don't know what else. There's no way to get a hold of me other than Gmail or Twit. That's it.
Okay.
Or should put something. If you put something on, but see, I wouldn't put it in that either. I was going to say you could put a message on a video I did, or an old live stream, but I wouldn't put any information there either. But anyway, if not, once in a while when you see it out there, come on in, dude. It's fun. It's always fun. And you can see how much the Britisher loves French folks. And as much as I'd like to just claim full ownership of this channel, I claim ownership on the spots that I do when it's like you see me, the real me, announcing this me. But the other stuff like this part, it's just as much Day as Dad's and Mark Doppelgangers and everybody else you see all the time. So I'm aware of that.
Au revoir, mesdames et
Bye,
messieurs.
Brett.
See you about.
Bye-bye. See you around.
Bonus say penis on a Voodoo Kulu. I think that was something in your ass. I don't know. No, I have no idea what it was.
Speaking of in the ass, thank you, Ogre, for a fantastic stream and for letting me pop in here. I'm going to go pass the fuck out like an ass.
Yeah, I believe it. Canadian, eh?
Nice to meet
you.
Fucking A, bro. Cheers.
Nice to meet you and see you again.
Bye, folks. Listen, everybody, you know what to do. Be nice to people and say you're sorry and let them say they're sorry back. And if you don't do that, you're a jerk, man. You should be nice to people. Because if you don't, one day or another, before you know it, everything you like is going to go away from you. And you know that's what I usually say, just in a different way. Peace and love.